Chapter 1992. Lingyan also wants to know what the Nine Sons are thinking, why are they undergoing nirvana so many times, and what kind of threat they are facing. Back then, Mother Moon was pawned by Yu Mei to the Heavenly Law pawn shop. She mainly did it to save her sisters. Qin Yun sighed and said, "This is a very helpless matter. Then why don't they have this kind of memory? Why did they just have their own mission?" Ling Yun said. Qin Yun said, "They had a mission very early on, but they never completed it. The reason why they lost their memory is because their souls were seriously injured when they fought with the Heavenly Law, Divine Domain people. At that time, they participated in the Great Battle and were injured. Bing Xing was protected by Mother Moon's power and turned into a star. As for Sister Yang, Sister Yu, Yuelon, and Yuemei, they were sent to the immortal Desolate's moon by Mother Moon's power and only woke up after many years of slumber. The one who woke up earlier was Sister Shuyan. She was found by Sister Kiru and I in Divine Desolate and became a killing god. However, she still died later on. After she died, she reincarnated into the immortal Desolate and awakened the few Nine Sun divine daughters with Sister Kiru. Sister Bingxing fell into the immortal Desolate's moon later on." Lingyun sighed and said, "So there are actually so many twists and turns. Mother Moon is truly awesome. She can protect them." Qin Yun said, "Yuemei pawned Mother Moon so that the Heavenly Law pawn shop can ensure that they can live smoothly or continue reincarnating. The Heavenly Law pawn shop is really useful. It can let you group of enemies of the Heavenly Law continue reincarnating." Ling Yun said with smile, "That's because the Heavenly Law is bored. It wants to see what kind of storm we can create if we continue living." Qin Yun said with smile. After recovering his memories, Qin Yun joined hands with Ling Yun and frantically released a large amount of Nether Sun power and poured it into the Pill Transformation Heavenly Furnace. The Pill Transformation Heavenly Furnace absorbed the sacred mysterious silver crystal's energy and condensed a large amount of Nether Sun power into pills. 5 days passed by, and Qin Yun finally refined a small black pearl. Then he carved the Nether Moon totem on it. "Is this enough?" Ling Yun said, "This Nether Moon is so small." The Nether Moon refined by Qin Yun is indeed very small. It is only the size of a thumb. This is the initial Nether Moon. After I give it to Sister Yu, she will be able to fuse with it more easily. Then she can make the Nether Moon stronger by herself. That's right. Raising Mingyu from a young age is the most important thing," Ling Yun said with a smile. After refining the Nether Moon, Qin Yun let Xian Rujing out. Originally, he planned to let Zi Qingsheng, Shui Tianzi, and Long Tianji go to the Guanghan Palace together with him. However, the three of them refused no matter what. They wanted to stay in the Nine Sun Divine Soul. Qin Yun could only agree to let them continue staying. Xian Rujing is also very reluctant to part with Little Nether Moon. She brought along Little Nether Moon towards Mother Moon. Qin Yun came out of seclusion in the Divine Inscription Mountain. What surprised him is that most of the people in the Divine Inscription Mountain have cultivated saint veins. The evolution of the entire Divine Mountain was very strong. This was mainly because it had absorbed a large amount of energy from the Sun God Crystal. "Boss, we all have sacred veins. We can become sacred at any time." Xiao Hua said, "It's time to go to Sacred Desolate. With a sacred vein, one could enter the Sacred Desolate. Without a sacred bloodline, one would not be able to pass through the space of the Sacred Desolate." Qin Yun said, "You all go to Sacred Desolate first." "Why?" Mountain God said, "Boss, if you don't want to go to Sacred Desolate, we should stay here. I can't cultivate Sacred Vein. This is my personal reason." Qin Yun said. Ancient Ox Devil is very shocked and said, "Boss, how can you not cultivate Sacred Vein? I thought you cultivated it long ago." Qin Yun said with smile, "Something happened to me. That's why I can't cultivate it. You all go first. I will go there very soon." Shimendai Zhuang said, "Boss, when will you be able to cultivate it? If you can't go to Sacred Desolate, we also won't go. Inscription Gate can't do without you." Others promptly nodded. Qin Yun is very important to Inscription Gate. Without Qin Yun, although the divine inscription mountain can grow and each of its members have mastered very strong runes, they still feel that they can't do without Qin Yun. Relax. How can I not go to Sacred Desolate? There is no place in this world that I can't go. Qin Yun laughed loudly and said, I say, what are you worried about? Don't tell me you think I'll be trapped in Immortal Desolate. That's not it. We are just worried. Devil Mirror Immortal Emperor said with smile. All right, if you want to set off, then set off as soon as possible. Qin Yun said, are the other major powers ready to set off? Immortal Desolate Dragon Race has already set off. There's also Ling Tian Clan. In short, many experts have gone to Sacred Desolate. Ancient Ox Devil said, they all have support on the other side. For example, Sacred Desolate originally has Imperial Clan. Immortal Desolate Imperial Clan can go there and join them. Qin Yun nodded and said, we have enough resources. We should indeed go to Sacred Desolate to take a look. If possible, we should try our best to go to Divine Desolate before world extermination. Boss, then we should set off as soon as possible. Rest assured, I will go to Sacred Desolate and become stronger as soon as possible. I will produce even stronger divine fruits. Mountain God said. Qin Yun nodded and said, with you guys in Inscription Gate, I am very relieved. Everyone in Inscription Gate cooperated with each other and refined many good weapons for Hercules to use. After Qin Yun and everyone ate and drank to their heart's content, they left Divine Inscription Mountain. When he walked out of Divine Inscription Mountain, it is already dark. There used to be 2 big moons in the sky, but now the 2 big moons were gone, and there was only one normal moon. This normal moon, Guanghan Palace and Moon God Mountain have moved to Mother Moon, and Mother Moon has already gone to Sacred Desolate. I can't cultivate sacred veins because I suffered heavenly punishment. Qin Yun looked at the sky and said, every time I enter a stronger space, it is extremely difficult. Ling Yun said, Xiao Yun, what do you plan to do next? Seclusion to cultivate sacred veins? I plan to make a trip to Inscription World. Qin Yun said, there is something I left behind in Immortal Desolate. What is it? Ling Yun asked. Sun Dragon Totem. Qin Yun said with a smile. Do you still remember Li Longxian? He obtained 2 stone slabs with dragon totem on them. I remember. That is the Sun Dragon Totem? Ling Yun said in astonishment. Is this dragon totem powerful? Of course it's powerful. The strongest 9-dragon heavenly origin formation needs this kind of dragon totem. Back then I obtained some stone slabs and hid them in a desolate domain of Immortal Desolate. Later that desolate domain became Immortal Desolate's Inscription World. Li Longxian is someone Qin Yun met in Great Dragon Desolate Domain. He is from Li family of Inscription World. While Qin Yun is flying in the night sky, the Devil Mirror suddenly trembled. Qin Yun took out the Devil Mirror and heard Xian Rujing's voice. Little brother Xiao Yun, I want to go find you, don't go. Xian Rujing yelled. Sister Rujing, didn't you go to Sacred Desolate? Qin Yun said with frown. I can't bear to part with you. Xian Rujing said with smile. Qin Yun sensed Xian Rujing's location through the Devil Mirror and directly entered the heaven-leaping shuttle. Xian Rujing is wearing snow-white long skirt. She is ice-cold and gorgeous. After seeing Qin Yun, she revealed a tender and beautiful smile. 9-Sun Divine Maiden cannot leave Mother Moon, but I can. Now that Mother Moon is gone, don't think you could drive me away. Xian Rujing said. All right, Qin Yun said with smile. I want to go to Inscription World. Up to you, I want to go find little Mo. This magical fairy's high priest seems to be able to evolve my divine position totem. I want to have a chat with her. Xian Rujing said. All right. Qin Yun sent Xian Rujing into the 9-Sun Divine Soul with smile. Outer Heaven Domain can no longer be arrogant and Immortal Desolate. They have suffered great losses, so they gave up on coming to Immortal Desolate. Dark Royal Race can only return to Great Dark Desolate. They plan to become stronger and then make a comeback. The strongest faction in Immortal Desolate is Immortal Desolate Sacred Masters Immortal Desolate Holy Palace. Heartless Immortal Venerable is inside Immortal Desolate Holy Palace. In immortal, desolate, holy palaces, 4 heavenly kings, because of special reasons, can continue to stay in immortal, desolate, even after transforming into sacred masters. Qin Yun is now communicating with immortal, desolate, holy master through the devil mirror. Boss Divine King. It seems like Nine Suns' power is still there. For heavenly kings have become sacred masters. They can still stay in immortal, desolate. Sacred Master can still stay in immortal, desolate to protect immortal, desolate because Nine Sun allows it. Immortal, desolate, holy master said. Both immortal, desolate, holy master and heartless, immortal, venerable are in this situation. Yes, Nine Sun has always been here. It's just that there's a problem. Qin Yun said. During this period of time, immortal, desolate, holy master has already helped Xie Karu restore Moon God's divine position. Boss Divine King, when are you going to Sacred Desolate? Immortal, desolate, holy master asked. Soon, Qin Yun said with smile. Once I go to Sacred Desolate, I don't know when I will be able to see you again. It doesn't matter if you see me or not. In any case, when you become Divine King again, I will definitely be able to follow you and achieve meteoric success. Immortal, desolate, holy master said with laugh. Qin Yun is inside the heaven-leaping shuttle. Looking at the moon in the sky, he is currently flying in a certain direction. He also cut off contact with immortal, desolate, holy master. Then he took out a large golden devil horn and contacted Evil God. Evil God doesn't know that Qin Yun is the king of gods, but he knows that Qin Yun is very powerful. Even in Divine Desolate, Qin Yun is very famous. Little ancestor, have you gone to Sacred Desolate? Evil God asked with smile. It seems like he is in a very good mood. Not yet, Qin Yun said. How is the situation in Divine Desolate now? I want to know about the 8 Nine Sun sects, Evil Yang Palace, Divine Inscription Palace, and Dark Royal Race. It is very strange. Those 8 Nine Sun sects seem to have fallen out with the Imperial Race. They are actually together with the Dark Royal Race. And the Imperial Race is now isolated in Divine Desolate. Evil God said, what about the Sun Altar? Have they returned to Divine Desolate? Qin Yun asked. No, but I have received reliable information that the Sun Altar is in Sacred Desolate. Evil God's voice is very low as he said, Little ancestor, the Sun Altar is doing something big in Sacred Desolate. As for the specifics, I don't know. Chapter 1993. Qin Yun is controlling the heaven-leaping shuttle to fly. He is currently looking for a weak space wall to enter the inscription world. He has a good understanding of the inscription world. When he was Immortal King Floating Cloud in his previous life, he went there. There's a normal passage to the inscription world, but he doesn't want to go through that passage because it will be very troublesome. Now, Qin Yun's heaven-leaping shuttle is near that passage. After so many years, the space wall has strengthened so much. Qin Yun said, I can't find a weak space wall. Xiao Yun, you forgot to tell Sister Yang to leave behind a moon fairy for you. Ling Yun said, her moon fairy has fused with space Xian Ant. Moreover, you, inner fairy can, hee. Bad fairy, you are wrong about this. If Sister Yang goes to Sacred Desolate and her fairy is an Immortal Desolate, then the moon fairy in Immortal Desolate will fall asleep. As Qin Yun spoke, he controlled the heaven-leaping shuttle and released formidable spatial power to search for a suitable shuttle point. Ling Yun said with sweet smile, then when are you going to take Sister Rujing? Whether or not you can cultivate Sacred Vein, she is the key. She doesn't mind, why do you mind? Hurry up and take her down. Yin the reason why I can't cultivate Sacred Vein is because I suffered heavenly punishment, Qin Yun said with stern expression. If Sister Rujing helps me cultivate Sacred Vein, I am worried that she will become the target of heavenly punishment and harm her. So you have always been worried about this. Ling Yun sighed and said, Sister Rujing, this ice beauty is trying so hard to seduce you, but you are indifferent. She must be very depressed. Qin Yun shook his head and said with smile, Great beauty inner, I have now recovered all my memories. I can tell you with certainty that I am not lustful at all. Therefore, You being so bad has nothing to do with my soul. It must be related to you. Ling Yin'er giggled and said, It might also be Yuelon who taught me. Oh, that's right. Has Yuelon always been so bad? She's indeed very similar to you, Qin Yun said with smile. The heaven-leaping shuttle released a large amount of spatial power and quickly detected a relatively weak space wall. Just as he was about to shuttle through, a glowing white cloud suddenly flew over from the night sky. Cloud Dragon. Qin Yun is alarmed. Yin Long's sudden appearance here meant that he was definitely here to look for him. Qin Yun immediately arrived outside the heaven-leaping shuttle. He sat on the large gourd-like heaven-leaping shuttle and waited for Yun Long to arrive. Not long after, the white cloud turned into a dragon. Senior Cloud Dragon, you lied to me before, Qin Yun said with smile. Palace King, congratulations on recovering your memory. Yun Long laughed. I lied to you, but what can you do to me? Are you going to hit me? Don't think that just because you're the shopkeeper of the Heavenly Law Pawn Shop, you are very arrogant. The previous shopkeeper of the Heavenly Law Pawn Shop was bullied by me to the point that he has a shadow in his heart. Qin Yun chuckled and said, Tian Dao Zi was the previous shopkeeper of the Heavenly Dao Pawn Shop, and he was bullied by Qin Yun. Yun Long said, I came to you this time to tell you 3 things. I came here quietly. Qin Yun put away his smile and said seriously, Speak. The Heavenly Dao is dead. Yin Long said solemnly. Qin Yun's expression sank as he said with a frown, Since the Heavenly Dao is dead, why can it still operate? Although the Heavenly Dao is dead, the Heavenly Dao laws did not disappear. It's just that the Heavenly Dao has no master. The Heavenly Dao is about to enter a great upheaval. Yin Long said, The Heavenly Law Pawn Shop is very independent and restricted by very strict Heavenly Dao rules. No one can control the Heavenly Law Pawn Shop. Otherwise, they will be punished by the strongest Heavenly Law, destruction. Before the Heavenly Dao died, it established very strict heavenly rules to ensure that the Heavenly Dao can operate stably. Qin Yun said with a frown, It seems like the Heavenly Dao already had a plan. Yun Long said, Before the Heavenly Dao died, it passed on a very important thing to you. Heavenly Eye. Qin Yun slightly frowned and said, Why did the Heavenly Dao do this? Do you know what kind of inheritance the Heavenly Eye has? Yin Long said, I don't know. I don't know much about the Heavenly Eye. Qin Yun shook his head. Then you should properly comprehend it. Yin Long sighed and said, The Heavenly Dao is already dead. It might just be an illusion. I can't believe that the Heavenly Dao is dead. Maybe the Heavenly Dao never lived. How could it die? There is no such thing as the Heavenly Dao dying. Qin Yun looked at the sky and said, Maybe the Heavenly Dao has become another kind of existence. Yin Long said, As far as I know, after the death of the Heavenly Dao, the Heavenly Law Divine Realm is like a funeral, because they have lost the power bestowed by the Heavenly Dao. Even they are restricted by the strict heavenly rules. In a long run, this is a good thing, but in a short run, the Heavenly Law Divine Realm will definitely become even more rampant. While they are still powerful, they will definitely strive to control the heavenly domain under the Heavenly Dao. Qin Yun said, Palace King, the matter of resisting the Heavenly Law Divine Realm must be considered at length. Yun Long said, The second matter is regarding the 9 Nether Overlord. What happened to Foster Father? Qin Yun wanted to ask about this matter. Back then, the 9 Nether Realm was infiltrated by the Heavenly Law Divine Realm. As a result, the Netherworld Great Emperor was killed and could only be reborn in the Immortal Desolate. Yun Long sighed. The Netherworld Great Emperor has already passed the Heavenly Law Pawn Shop's examination and is working for the Heavenly Dao. Then what about Boss Xie? It's a young man beside my foster father. Qin Yun said, Little Xie? The successor of the Sword God. Yin Long laughed. He's very good. Previously, he was brought to the 9 Nether Realm and captured by those fellows from the Heavenly Law Divine Realm, but he was saved by the Netherworld Great Emperor. Perhaps he will be the next 9 Nether Overlord. Qin Yun said in shock, Foster father wants boss Xie to take back the 9 Netherrealm. Yin Long nodded and said, yes. That's not bad either. I wish them success. Qin Yin felt a lot more at ease and asked, then what's the third matter you're looking for me for? It's about the sacred desolate. Yun Long said in a deep voice. The 3 suns in the sky released something very important and fell into the sacred desolate. What is it? Qin Yun had long guessed that there was something because the Mother Moon and the Sun altar had anxiously gone to the sacred desolate. Sun seed? I heard that there are even 9 sun seeds. Yin Long said, Palace King, you should know what this means, right? Qin Yun, who was sitting on the large gourd, stood up in shock and said, Sun seed? 9 suns can give birth to sun seeds? And 9 of them? Yes, the yang seed. I'm also very surprised because the 9 suns can only be considered average among the many heavenly domains. There are many heavenly suns that are stronger than the 9 suns, but they are unable to give birth to sun seeds. Yin Long said, You are the 9 sun palace king. You are most interested in the matters of the 9 suns. That's why I immediately told you. Qin Yun said, It seems like I have to go to the sacred desolate as soon as possible. Yin Long said with a smile, As soon as possible. The sun seed is very important. With the sun seed, it will be easier for you to create your own sun. Many thanks for telling me. Qin Yun said, Farewell. After Yin Long finished speaking, he disappeared without a trace. Qin Yun returned to the heaven-leaping shuttle, controlled it to travel through space, and arrived at the inscription world. The sky of the inscription world is the same as the immortal desolate. One can see the sun, moon, and stars. After arriving at the inscription world, Ling Yun asked, Xiao Yun, what's going on with the sun seed? A heavenly domain has the sun as its center. There must be a heavenly sun in the center of the heavenly domain. Around the heavenly sun, there are many huge stars or even great desolate. Generally speaking, there are only a few heavenly suns in the center of the heavenly domain. Qin Yun said, But the 9 sun heavenly domain has 9, so it's very special. Ling Yun said, Aren't the heavenly suns of other heavens stronger than the 9 suns? Yes, in some heavens, one of their heavenly suns is equivalent to 3 of ours. However, the number of 9 suns means that the potential is very great and can be continuously strengthened. It can surpass the heavenly suns of the ancient heavenly domains. Qin Yun said, If the number of heavenly suns of the other heavenly domains wants to increase, they need to nurture the sun seed. Ling Yun said with a smile, I know, it's just like laying eggs. Qin Yun said with a smile, It's more or less like this. There is a legend that the 9 suns are very large and ancient heavenly suns. With the help of the heavenly Tao power, they gave birth to 9 eggs. And now, this very young 9 suns have given birth to 9 sun seeds. This is very strange. It seems like the 9 suns have a lot of secrets. Ling Yun said. Qin Yun took out a soul-chasing talisman to find Li Longxian. After retrieving the complete Sun Dragon Totem, he will go into seclusion and cultivate sacred veins. The soul-chasing talisman quickly reacted. Li Longxian is also in the inscription world. In order not to cause a big commotion, Qin Yun stored the heaven-leaping shuttle and flew towards Li Longxian. Li Longxian took out 2 stone tablets and showed them to Qin Yun. After obtaining 2 dragon totem, he handed over the dragon totem to the Li family. As a result, his status has risen very high. This is what Qin Yun learned from the Li family of the inscription world. It is said that Li Longxian is a core figure in the Li family, mainly because of his great contribution. After obtaining the mysterious dragon totem, the Li family's inscription level has increased a lot. Therefore, they attach great importance to Li Longxian. The inscription world was created by the people of the immortal, desolate, divine inscription palace in order to avoid disputes. It is only a desolate domain. Inside, there's only a very large city where people are gathered. When Qin Yun was in Heaven Creation City, he learned about the general situation of this place from the people of the inscription world. In addition, his previous life immortal King Floating Cloud had come here before. Therefore, after coming to the inscription world, he is not unfamiliar with it. Anyone can enter that city. Qin Yin took Li Longshuan's soul-chasing talisman and found the Leaf family villa. Originally, Li Longxian gave him a communication magic tool, but he couldn't use it. He also didn't know why, so he could only use the soul-chasing talisman to search. Although there's only one city in the inscription world, this city is very prosperous. At night, the lights are colorful. Many buildings in the city have runes. Even the ground has many runes. Those runes shine at night, very beautiful and mysterious. The city is not protected by a barrier, but the villas of the major families are protected by many layers of barriers. Chapter 1994. The reason why Qin Yin came to find Li Longxian this time is because of a very important matter. Using a polite method to visit can avoid unnecessary misunderstandings. Although it is nighttime, the Leaf family's door is still open, and there are people at the entrance to receive them. After all, the Leaf family of the inscription world is considered a top power in the inscription world. Usually, there are many people who visit the Leaf family. Qin Yin walked to a place outside the door to receive visitors. The one who received him is an old man. When he saw Qin Yin, he asked with a smile, "Young man, why are you here so late? Are you a friend of which young master of the Leaf family?" "I am Qin Yin. I am here to pay a visit to Senior Li Longxian," Qin Yin said with a smile. "Is it convenient now?" "Of course it's not convenient now, but I can arrange for you to go to Celestial Master Longxian's reception hall. If you are lucky, tomorrow morning, Celestial Master Longxian will appear. Maybe you can meet him," the old man said. "Tomorrow morning?" Qin Yin never expected that it would be so difficult to meet Li Longxian. From the old man's reaction, he did not recognize Qin Yin. Celestial Master Longxian might be in seclusion to study runes. If he doesn't come out, he might not even show his face for a month. The old man said, "If little brother has the heart to see Celestial Master Longxian, you need to wait patiently." Qin Yin said, "All right, then I'll have to trouble Senior to bring me to the reception hall." He planned to enter the Li family villa first. It would definitely be easy to find Li Longxian then. He did not expect that Li Longshuan's reception hall was not in the Li family villa, but in a large courtyard outside the walls of the Li family villa. Qin Yin followed the old man to the courtyard and entered a large house. The reception hall is very large. There are many round tables and chairs. There are dozens of tables that can seat hundreds of people. "Sit wherever you want," the old man said with a smile. "In the morning, someone will deliver tea, wine, and fruit snacks." "Thank you, Senior." Qin Yin did not succeed in entering the Li family villa. When he was at the gate, he saw that the barrier was very strong. If he were to forcefully enter, he would definitely cause quite a commotion. He could only try his luck in the reception hall. "Sit at the very front. If Li Longxian appears, he will definitely see me." Qin Yin directly walked to the seat at the very front. There is only Qin Yin in this spacious and comfortable reception hall. After all, it is night, and everyone has gone back. Ling Yin said with a smile, "This Li Longxian is really doing well. To have such a reception hall, there must be a lot of people who want to visit him. He should be. It wasn't easy to see him, and he probably wouldn't come here often. He made such a guest hall because he doesn't want to offend anyone," Qin Yin said with a smile. Li Longxian wouldn't be able to handle too many visitors, so he often used seclusion as an excuse to arrange for those who came to visit him to stay here and entertain them warmly. In this way, even those who couldn't see Li Longxian wouldn't have any complaints. Instead, they would praise Li Longxian for his hospitality. Qin Yin sat down, closed his eyes, and waited patiently. At daybreak, Qin Yin heard footsteps coming from the courtyard. Although the soundproofing in the living room was good, his hearing was very strong. An immortal emperor has arrived, and it's an old man. Qin Yin sensed that the aura was not Li Longshuan's and retracted his mental power. Early in the morning, people came to the reception hall one after another. The table is filled with tea, wine, and fruits. The people who came to the reception hall have been waiting for Li Longxian for a long time. Qin Yin heard someone say that he has been waiting for a month. He came here every day, but he could not see Li Longxian. They mainly asked Li Longxian to refine tools or carve runes. Some asked Li Longxian to accept them as disciples or comment on their runes. Not long after dawn, the reception hall is almost full. Qin Yun found that the round table at the front of the reception hall is empty. No one came to sit. The people who entered the reception hall are all sitting at the back. Just as he is feeling puzzled, he suddenly sensed many powerful auras. Several groups of people are talking and laughing. Under the admiration of everyone, they walked into the corridor of the reception hall. These few groups of people are all wearing the robes of inscription masters, and they are the more luxurious kind. Most of them are middle-aged and old. Although they are chatting and laughing with their friends, when they look at the others present, their eyes are filled with contempt. Qin Yun can tell with a glance that these people are inscription masters with a certain level of status. They also have a favor to ask of Li Longxian. Because they have more status, the front row seats are all theirs. No one dares to sit there. Seeing that the people who came are relatively skilled inscription masters, Qin Yun wants to chat with them and understand some things about the inscription world. The first few tables were occupied by the nobles. There were 10 seats at each table, but there were only a few people at each table. It can be seen that they are in several small groups, so they can't sit together. Although it is not full, the people who came later don't dare to sit there. They only brought their benches and sat in the empty space at the back. Qin Yun's table has 5 people sitting there. 2 old men, 2 middle-aged men, and 1 young man. They saw Qin Yun's unfamiliar face sitting there. Their expressions are very unfriendly. They looked at Qin Yun with a slightly cold gaze. Qin Yun originally wanted to chat with them, but seeing how fierce they are, he dispelled the idea. Who are you? This table is for our Lu family. The young man wearing a green robe said in a stern and cold voice. Don't you know the rules here? Hurry up and leave. Qin Yun said, I came last night. Aren't these seats for whoever arrives first to sit first? Could it be that this table was made by your Lu family? Brat, what kind of tone is that? The young man suddenly stood up, pointed at Qin Yun, and shouted coldly. Qin Yun smiled slightly. My tone is so much better than yours, yet you can't stand it. The old man beside him said coldly, Lu Fin, sit down. Sit down. Lu Feiyuan could only sit down and stare coldly at Qin Yun. The people in the living room also looked forward with interest. The rest of our Lu family will be here soon. If you don't want to make the scene so ugly, then hurry up and leave. A middle-aged man from the Lu family said to Qin Yun with a deep voice. Whether it is the tone of his voice or the way he looked at Qin Yun, they're all filled with a strong sense of threat. Qin Yun said, This is Celestial Master Long Xian's reception hall. There is no rule that this seat belongs to you, right? If there is a rule, then I won't say anything else. You really don't know who we are? Lu Feiyuan said coldly. Our Lu family's patriarch is a friend of Celestial Master Long Xian. Qin Yun said with a smile. I'm also a friend of Celestial Master Long Xian. Everyone here is a friend of Celestial Master Long Xian. You are nothing. You bastard. Do you really not know the relationship between our Lu family and Celestial Master Long Xian? Lu Feiyuan shouted. The people from the other families in the vicinity nodded their heads. Someone said, Young man, everyone tacitly gave up the front seats. Do you still not understand the reason? Hurry up and leave. Qin Yun said, I was the first to arrive, and this place is not full. Why should I leave? Lu Feiyuan rolled up his sleeves and said with a face full of anger, You don't know the rules. You are not worthy to sit in Celestial Master Long Xian's reception hall. Since you don't know how to appreciate favors, then I can only take action. Openly provoking my Lu family, teach him a lesson. The old man from the Lu family sneered. I gave him a way out just now, but he didn't know what's good for him. He really deserves a lesson. Someone from the back said, Hurry up and take this kid out. You don't understand the rules at all. Let's not talk about the fact that he is from the Lu family, just based on his identity as a member of the Inscription Profound sect. Do you think you're worthy to sit together with him? That's right. Nothing like this has ever happened in the living room. Someone said, The living room has to be harmonious. Isn't it good for everyone to have a bit of tacit understanding and abide by the unwritten rules? Lu Feiyuan has already arrived beside Qin Yun. Qin Yun is still sitting there, not understanding. Qin Yun's expression is still calm and composed. He doesn't care about the Lu family's unwritten rules. You're still not leaving? Lu Feiyuan grabbed Qin Yun's shoulder with all his might. He wanted to lift Qin Yun up, but he discovered that it was as if he was grabbing an incomparably hard rock. Qin Yun used the heavenly Tao technique, and his body is incomparably sturdy. Furthermore, Lu Feiyuan is only an immortal king. Why should I leave? Qin Yun sneered. Take your hand away. While speaking, Qin Yun lightly waved his hand and hit the hand on his shoulder as if he was hitting a speck of dust. Qin Yun lightly swept his fingers and shot out a very strong hidden energy. Lu Feiyuan immediately felt extreme pain and let out a loud cry. Lu Feiyuan's hand is already red. He is an immortal king, yet his hand was lightly touched by a large bell. He is alarmed and angry in his heart. He loudly shouted, "He used poison. This is a vicious guy. Quickly, teach him a lesson." There are no Li family people in the living room, so even if a fight broke out, no one would come to stop it. Lu Feiyuan knows that Qin Yun's strength is not weak, but he doesn't know what his cultivation is, so he doesn't dare to continue. Everyone is secretly alarmed. Someone actually dared to attack in Li Longshuan's living room. Lu family's two middle-aged men abruptly stood up and flashed behind Qin Yun. They attacked with their palms and vigorously slapped Qin Yun's shoulder. They want to grab Qin Yun's shoulder. Qin Yun is still sitting on the chair. He channeled the hidden energy into his shoulder and released threads of suffering divine ability power. When those two middle-aged men vigorously slapped Qin Yun's shoulder, it is as if they are slapping many scorching hot thorns. They screamed in pain and promptly retreated. Hundreds of people in the living room saw Lu family people suffer losses again and can't help but let out a burst of low cries. This guy has very strong equipment and strange poison. Those two middle-aged men's hands turned purple from the pain. It looks like they are indeed poisoned. The other two Lu family elders did not sense any aura fluctuation from Qin Yun's body. Therefore, they also believed that it was caused by Qin Yun's equipment. Chapter 1995. The two Lu family elders released very strong power fluctuations, but Qin Yun is still sitting there very calmly. After recovering his memories, although Qin Yun's cultivation is only at the 9th level Immortal Emperor realm, he has mastered all kinds of rich combat experience in his previous life. His strength is far from what these people can compare to. After the two Lu family elders walked over, their palms overflowed with Immortal Emperor power. As soon as the Immortal Emperor power appeared, the house where the reception hall is located immediately trembled. Many of the younger generation are immediately alarmed and promptly praised the two Lu family elders for their strength. As expected of the Lu family elders, they casually released Immortal Emperor power, and it already has such power. If they used all their Immortal Emperor power, the power would be unimaginable. To deal with this kind of ignorant youth, there is no need to use the strongest Immortal Emperor power. That's right, this guy looks so weak, he can be killed with just a few moves. Lu Feiyuan shouted, "Elders, be careful of the poison on his body. That guy's poison is not very strong. It only makes people feel pain and also makes them red and swollen." Qin Yun find it very funny. That Lu Feiyuan was clearly injured by power, but he said it was poison. "We originally didn't want to make a move, but you are too arrogant. We have no choice but to teach you a lesson," the old man said coldly. The other Lu family elder already arrived behind Qin Yun. His palm is filled with formidable Immortal Emperor power. The entire reception hall trembled along with the Immortal Emperor power gushing out from his palm. Qin Yun said, "Arrogant? The arrogant ones are obviously you guys. Your Lu family people attacked me one after another. Everyone saw this." "Shut up. This table clearly belongs to our Lu family. It's you who don't understand the rules and refuse to leave," the old man said angrily. "I'll give you one more chance. Take out the antidote and apologize to us. This is Heavenly Master Longshin's place. We don't want to fight here." The other old man's tone is calm, but it revealed a very strong killing intent. Qin Yun said coldly, "The ones who should apologize are you." Heavenly Master Long Xian's reception hall did not say who these seats belonged to. "I came first, I sat down first. Moreover, there are so many seats here. I am not hindering you at all. It seems like you won't shed a tear until you see the coffin." After the old man finished speaking, he vigorously struck Qin Yun's head with his palm. The old man's palm contained a very strong, immortal emperor's power. Not to mention the head, even the very sturdy saint metal would probably be dented. Who? When the palm landed on Qin Yun's head, it only produced a gust of wind. That old man was extremely shocked. That was because when his palm landed, the immortal emperor's power that erupted out was completely devoured. If it was someone else, their head would have been smashed into pieces. The elder's heavy hand infuriated Qin Yun. "Let me." Another old man's withered hand pierced toward the back of Qin Yun's neck like a sharp thorn. But after stabbing forward, the powerful immortal emperor power suddenly dissipated and was blocked by the energy barrier Qin Yun released. "You guys aren't holding back at all," Qin Yun said coldly. Boom. Suddenly, a very strong supergravity appeared, but it only locked onto the two elders. The two elders originally wanted to continue attacking Qin Yun, but now they feel extremely uncomfortable. Their bodies suddenly became incomparably heavy. One of the elders is horrified because he can see that Qin Yun is very strong. "Bastard, what did you do?" A middle-aged man from the Liu family saw this and immediately took out a sword. Seeing that sword, everyone cried out in alarm. King-grade immortal tool. Looking at the material, it is refined from saint metal. If it is upgraded a bit more, it might become a low-grade saint tool. Liu family people are really awesome. This king-grade immortal tool looks very good. Qin Yun said. "What are you doing?" "They attacked me. It's already pretty good that I didn't fight back." Everyone feels that it is very strange that this young man is so powerful that even two Liu family elders can't take him down. What caused people to be even more alarmed is that the faces of the two Liu family elders are completely red. They look very uncomfortable. The middle-aged man from the Liu family furiously said, "Did you poison him?" While speaking, the king-grade immortal sword in his hand stabbed towards Qin Yun. An energy barrier appeared in front of Qin Yun. It is the body-protecting dragon handle barrier. The king-grade immortal sword stabbed forward, but was actually blocked by the energy barrier. This immediately caused the entire guest hall to cry out in alarm. Boom! Qin Yun suddenly increased the supergravity, causing the two elders to kneel on the ground, their knees breaking the sturdy floor. The two elders immediately screamed miserably and lied on the ground because the super pressure is about to crush them flat. Ka ka ka. Everyone can see that the two elders' bodies are emitting a burst of crisp sounds. It is as if their bones are being crushed. Qin Yun has been sitting on the chair the entire time, not moving at all. However, he blocked the king-grade immortal sword and even pressed the two Liu family elders to the point that they are lying on the ground and screaming miserably. At this moment, everyone present knows that this young man is not simple. He possesses a very strong power. What is most inconceivable is that they are unable to sense the aura fluctuation of this young man's body. They don't know what his cultivation is. After listening, Housekeeper Li and Liu family's patriarch knew that the Liu family was indeed in the wrong. However, they're all people with status. Now that the Liu family has lost face, if they were to admit their wrongs, or just leave like that, they would completely lose face. So that's how it is. Sure enough, you're the one who is causing trouble without reason. Housekeeper Li pointed at Qin Yun and scolded angrily. It's fine if you don't know the rules of the guest room, but after reminding you, you are still so unreasonable. Qin Yun said coldly, "Is there really such a rule in this guest room?" Liu Fei Yuan said with a sneer, "Ignorant bastard, do you know who this lord is? He is the Li family's housekeeper, and he is also a good friend of Heavenly Master Long Xian. If he says there is such a rule, then there is such a rule. I don't believe it. Get Heavenly Master Long Xian to come out and prove it." Qin Yun said. Everyone immediately roared with laughter. Heavenly Master Long Xian is so busy. How could she come out and care about this kind of thing? Someone laughed. That's right. Even Housekeeper Li said that there is such a rule. You should just admit it, right? You bastard. You're the only one with so many problems. Do you think you deserve to sit in those seats? Who do you think you are? A group of people spoke up for the Liu family in order to get close to them. Liu family's patriarch said in a deep voice, Young man, I think you have some strength. That's why you're so arrogant. For Heavenly Master Long Xian's sake, obediently kowtow and admit your wrongs to my Liu family's elder, and I will let you off. Qin Yun remained sitting there and said indifferently, I will wait for Heavenly Master Long Xian to come. Impudent. A guy like you is not worthy of seeing Heavenly Master Long Xian. Housekeeper Li took a step forward and arrived beside Qin Yun. He opened his 5 fingers and grabbed at Qin Yun's face. Qin Yun's eyes turned cold as he released supergravity. The range of the supergravity was very small. It only covered the middle of Housekeeper Li's arm. Under Ling Yin-er's control, the supergravity turned into a hand blade and fell down. Ka! Before Housekeeper Li's hand could grab Qin Yun, his arm was suddenly broken. Seeing Housekeeper Li's arm suddenly cut off, everyone shouted in horror once again. Housekeeper Li is a member of the Li family, and he actually dared to hit him. Of course, what everyone is even more surprised about is Qin Yun's strength. Housekeeper Li let out a blood-curdling scream and retreated a few steps. He knew that the young man in front of him was not to be trifled with. Chapter 1996. Hearing that Li Longxian was coming, everyone immediately cheered. Great, now that Heavenly Master Longxian is here, she will definitely be able to teach this person a lesson. Liu Feiyuan stood behind the patriarch and looked fiercely at Qin Yun. Housekeeper Li did not dare to approach Qin Yun because he knew that Qin Yun was very strong and could kill him at any time. You dare hit me. The Li family will not let you off. Housekeeper Li glared at Qin Yun and shouted. Many of the people present hurriedly blocked the way out. Don't let him escape. Trap him and wait for Heavenly Master Long Xian to teach him a lesson. This guy is behaving atrociously in Heavenly Master Long Xian's territory. He really hasn't died yet. At this moment, more than 10 middle-aged men wearing white robes with cold expressions walked out from the front door of the living room. Seeing these middle-aged men, everyone let out a cheer. From the conversations of the crowd, Qin Yun found out that the dozen or so middle-aged men who looked very strong were all Li Longxuan's bodyguards. They were all very strong. Li Longxian came out. Qin Yun remembered that Li Longxian was a bald old man. However, the current Li Longxian has a head full of black hair and his face is not that old. He looks a bit like a middle-aged man. Li Longxian just walked out of a door and looked at Qin Yun. Because in the front row, everyone stood up. Only Qin Yun was sitting there. After seeing Qin Yun, Li Longxuan's eyes widened. Housekeeper Li immediately shouted angrily at Qin Yun. Heavenly Master Longxian came out, and you are still sitting there. You are so rude. You are truly asking for a beating. Li Longxuan's figure flashed and appeared in front of Housekeeper Li. He shouted, You dog, it's not your turn to speak here. Pa! Li Longxian ruthlessly slapped Housekeeper Li's face. Housekeeper Li was sent flying by the slap and smashed through the thick wall of the living room. Everyone immediately sucked in a breath of cold air. The people of the LV clan shuddered slightly. Everyone in the living room was dumbstruck. Previously, someone said that Housekeeper Li was Li Longxuan's good friend, but now, he was sent flying by Li Longxuan's slap. Li Longxuan's eyes were ice cold as he swept his gaze over the Liu family members. Seeing that they were injured, he suddenly understood something. Heavenly Master Longxian, this guy is very presumptuous. He is causing trouble in your living room, and even hit our Liu family members. Liu Feiyun pointed at Qin Yun and said with a trembling voice, Pa! Li Longxian slapped Liu Feiyun's face and said coldly, What about now? Liu Feiyun was sent tumbling in the air and fell to the ground, screaming in pain. Heavenly Master Longxian, you. Family head Liu's legs trembled. This is Master Qin, my benefactor. He had a good temperament. and never took the initiative to attack. If you are beaten up, then you must have provoked him first, Li Longxian shouted. Everyone was dumbfounded. Li Longxuan's benefactor was actually waiting for him here. The Liu family members were all trembling with fear. They finally understood why Steward Li had been slapped. Right at this moment, someone cursed angrily. It's all because the Liu family's people are too arrogant to occupy the front position. That's right, this little brother came last night and is sitting at the very front waiting for Celestial Master Longxian. The people from the Liu family think that I'm an eyesore and want to drive me away. There are only a few people in the Liu family, and they can't even fill up those seats. Yet, they want to drive this little brother away. The few people from the Liu family immediately cursed at these people. This was simply adding insult to injury. Li Longxian looked coldly at the people from the Liu family. He waved his hand at the bodyguard behind him and said, "Beat them up and throw them on the street." The Liu family was only a small family in the inscription world. Otherwise, they wouldn't have waited here for Li Longxian to appear. Elderly, I just came from the Immortal Desolate. There's a problem with the communication talisman I used to contact you, so I can only wait for you here. Qin Yun stood up and said with a smile. Back then, Li Longxian had given Qin Yun something similar to a magic mirror, but it has already lost its effectiveness. Master Qin, just say your name, Li Longxian said with a chuckle. He immediately patted Qin Yun's shoulder and said with a smile, I've finally waited for you to come. I said it, but the old man who received me didn't recognize me. Qin Yun said, Uncle Wang is really something. He actually doesn't recognize the famous Qin Yun. Li Longxian shook his head and said with a smile, Let's go to the Li family villa and talk. After speaking, Li Longxian left with Qin Yun. After the living room quieted down, a commotion broke out. Qin Yun? Is that the Qin Yun from the Immortal Desolate? Oh my god, this is the person who beat Xie Yang, destroyed the altar, and caused the Outer Heaven Alliance army to suffer a great loss. The sect master of the Inscription Gate, even Heavenly Master Longxian, has to call him Master Qin. Those fellows from the Liu family have really kicked an iron plate this time. Everyone is incomparably shocked. Qin Yun, whose name has shaken the Immortal Desolate, has actually come to the inscription world. Qin Yun followed Li Longxian to a secluded garden in the Li family villa, inside a small building. Master Qin, I thought you went to the sacred desolate, Li Longxian said with a smile. He is very clear that the reason why he has his current status is because Qin Yun gave him those dragon totem. Therefore, he is very respectful towards Qin Yun. Old Li, when are you going to the sacred desolate? Qin Yun asked. I'm ready, I can go. Li Longxian chuckled and said, Because of Master Qin's help, I obtained an extremely high position in the Li family and obtained a large amount of resources. I am truly grateful. Where did you get those stone slabs from back then? Qin Yun said. Back then, he obtained the Sun Dragon Totem stone slab and stored it in this desolate domain. Later on, this desolate domain became the inscription world, and the terrain changed greatly, causing him to be unable to find the place where he hid the stone slabs. In the ancient tomb of the Long family, Li Longxian said, I found the 2 stone slabs in my hands from there. A guy from the Long family brought me to rob their ancient tomb. That guy is already dead. Only I know how to enter the ancient tomb. Qin Yun said in low voice, Quickly bring me there. There should be other rigid people inside. Master Qin now? Li Longxian said in deep voice. Qin Yun nodded. He also found it strange that the stone slabs he hid in the inscription world back then were actually obtained by the Long family. All right, let's go now. Li Longxian chuckled and said, Master Qin, with you following us this time, we will definitely have a great harvest. Old Li, what's going on with the Long family of the inscription world? It seems like they didn't go to the Immortal Desolate. Qin Yun said. When the Emperor race appeared, many families of the inscription world went there. However, Qin Yun never heard of the Long family of the inscription world. The Long family has already declined. Their people have already left and scattered. It's impossible to gather them all. Li Longxian said, Their ancient tomb in the inscription world is very mysterious. Only the direct descendants of a long family know about it. Qin Yun nodded and said, "Let's go." Li Longxian brought Qin Yun and left the Li family villa through a secret passage. After changing their appearance, they boarded a carriage and left the city. "Old Li, did you hand over the 2 dragon totem on the 2 stone slabs I repaired?" Qin Yun asked. Li Longxian chuckled and said, "Master Qin taught me that I only need to hand over 1 totem. However, I did not hand over the complete dragon totem. I only handed over a part of it, and they had a whole new level of respect for me." "Then do they know what totem it is?" Qin Yun asked. "They said that it is a very important sun dragon totem." Li Longxian said, "Master Qin, you should already know about it, right?" Li Longxian met Qin Yun in the Great Dragon Desolate domain. Back then, he knew that Qin Yun is a very powerful old ancestor Fuyan. Qin Yun nodded and said, "I know. I am preparing to go to the Sacred Desolate, so I came here to see if there are other stone slabs." Back then, he asked Mo to help repair Li Longshuan's 2 stone slabs and also mastered the 2 sun dragon totem. At that time, he felt that the 2 dragon totem are very different. After he recovered his memories, he realized that it is a very special sun dragon totem. "Master Qin, do you have any research on these 2 dragon totem?" Li Longxian curiously asked. Although it looks like a totem, it has sun heavenly rune and sun totem inside. It is very complicated. Qin Yun said, "There is also sun heavenly rune?" Li Longxian said in amazement, "How come I didn't discover it?" "I indeed discovered a bit regarding the sun totem." Qin Yun said with smile, "Sun heavenly rune can't be seen. It needs to be comprehended. You must first familiarize yourself with what the sun dragon totem can see. Then you can comprehend what you can't see." "So it's like that." Li Longxian repeatedly nodded. He has a look of sudden realization. Qin Yun is not talking nonsense. It is the truth. "Master Qin, what exactly is the sun heavenly rune?" Li Longxian asked again. "It is the heavenly rune branded inside the sun when the heavenly Tao created it. It exists inside every sun, but it is very difficult to discover. If you can discover it, you can create your own sun," Qin Yun said. Li Longxian shook his head and said with a smile, "I am too stupid. This is very profound to me." After the carriage left the city, Qin Yun got off and took out the Heaven Leaping Shuttle. Qin Yun and Li Longxian are inside the control room of the Heaven Leaping Shuttle. They are flying towards Long Family's mysterious ancient tomb. "Old Li, how many times have you been to that ancient tomb?" Qin Yun asked. "After I came back from Great Dragon Desolate Domain, I went there several times, but each time I didn't gain anything. Moreover, I was worried that there would be danger inside, so I didn't go too deep." Li Longxian said, "Master Qin, with you here this time, I dare to go too deep." Qin Yun nodded and said, "There might be many mechanisms inside Long Family's ancient tomb. You didn't go too deep, it is also correct, otherwise you would have died without even knowing." "Yes, yes, yes." Li Longxian promptly nodded and said, "That prodigal old man of Long Family told me that the reason why their Long Family declined is because they often explored that ancient tomb and died inside. The Heaven Leaping Shuttle's flying speed is very fast. Moreover, it can shuttle through space. In just a short while, it arrived above Long Family's ancient tomb." Chapter 1997. Qin Yun controlled the Heaven Leaping Shuttle and landed on the short mountain. Li Longxian looked at the mountain and became very nervous. He said in low voice, "Master Qin, every time I approach this mountain, I get a very scary feeling." Qin Yun said with a smile, "Didn't you go in before? What are you afraid of?" Li Longxian sighed and said, "I went in a few times before, but last time, I almost died inside." "Oh, did you encounter something dangerous?" Qin Yun asked. "I didn't encounter anything dangerous. In short, I was slowly walking along a passage, and then my head suddenly felt very painful. Then my whole body felt very painful." Li Longxian recalled this matter. His expression became very fearful and also very doubtful. He said, "I am sure that there was nothing in the vicinity at that time, but I had a very big headache." I almost died from the pain. Qin Yun said with frown. Was it a soul attack? Li Longxian promptly shook his head and said with certainty, it was absolutely not a soul attack because I was wearing something to protect my soul. If my soul was attacked, I would have sensed it. I am here this time. Don't be afraid. Qin Yun said. Master Qin, I heard that you displayed great might in buried heaven land and killed many powerful people. I believe you. Li Longxian said with smile. Li Longxian also knows a bit about buried heaven land. Qin Yun secretly used his heavenly eye to check the ancient tomb. What caused him to be amazed is that he cannot see through the mountain. There is a very strong barrier protecting it. Qin Yun said in amazement. This ancient tomb of the Long family has some tricks up its sleeves. That's right. Otherwise, he wouldn't have killed so many elders of the Long family. Li Longxian said with smile. Many famous and powerful inscription masters of the Long family suddenly disappeared because they entered this damned place. Qin Yun controlled the heaven-leaping shuttle to enter the interior of the mountain, but failed because the mountain's barrier has completely sealed the space. Where's the entrance? Qin Yun asked. He can only enter from the entrance. Master Qin, I will take you there, Li Longxian said. Qin Yun and Li Longxian left the heaven-leaping shuttle. Qin Yun stored the heaven-leaping shuttle and followed Li Longxian to the bottom of the short mountain. Li Longxian brought Qin Yun and circled around the short mountain a few times. Where is it? Qin Yun asked. Elderly, don't tell me you forgot. Master Qin, that's not it. I'll take a few rounds first and observe the situation. Li Longxian said, this is what the prodigal old man from the Long family taught me. He said that before entering, I have to walk around a few times. If there is no wind in this mountain, I can enter. What's the principle behind this? Qin Yun was somewhat surprised. I don't know either. Li Longxian smiled. After circling a few rounds, Li Longxian brought Qin Yun and landed on a large rock at the foot of the mountain. Li Longxian carried the boulder away and saw a cave entrance. This is the entrance, Li Longxian said. It's very dark inside. Qin Yun took out a few glowing stones and controlled them to fly in front. The stone of light flew in front and immediately lit up the interior. Qin Yun walked in front while Li Longxian followed behind. Master Qin, be careful, Li Longxian warned. Although he came in with Qin Yun, he is still afraid. Don't worry. Qin Yun's pupils have already turned faint purple-red. He released his heavenly eye, allowing him to see many things. After entering the cave, Qin Yun walked along the passageway and saw a faint golden energy. What kind of energy is this? Divine Cosmos Golden Stone's divine Cosmos power? Qin Yun said in his heart. But this is not the same as the divine Cosmos power I am familiar with. Before coming here, he thought that this Long family ancient tomb was not that big of a deal. But now he realized that he underestimated the Long family ancient tomb. This is indeed a very awesome ancient tomb. Not long after they walked, they came across 3 forks. Which one? Qin Yun asked. I don't know, Li Longxian said. When I came in, I just walked casually. Where did you get those 2 stone slabs last time? Qin Yun asked again. This passageway. Li Longxian pointed to the right and said, last time we walked to the end, we met many poisonous spiders on the way. Then let's take this passageway first. Qin Yun walked this passageway and increased his speed. He could see a faint golden energy. Because this energy filled the entire ancient tomb, he doesn't know where it came from. Suddenly, Qin Yun heard a squeaking sound. Poisonous spiders, Li Longxian said in low voice. These poisonous spiders are very fast. Qin Yun walked forward and very quickly saw those poisonous spiders. These poisonous spiders are as big as a wash basin. Moreover, they have dragon scales on their body. They are actually poisonous dragon spiders. Many poisonous dragon spiders are blocking the path ahead. They look like black water rushing out. It is very scary. Why are there so many? Last time, there were only a few of them. Li Longxian shouted. Qin Yun immediately let out Long Tianji. After Long Tianji came out, she let out a low roar, and those poisonous dragon spiders all retreated. Tianji, what is going on with these poisonous dragon spiders? Do they have mothers? Qin Yun asked. These poisonous dragon spiders are mothers, Long Tianji said in amazement. But they're all in their infancy stage. When they grow up, they will all be mothers. Long Tianji is a poisonous dragon spider, but she has now evolved into a true dragon. This is mainly because Long Yuqing provided her with a large amount of dragon blood, and also because she absorbed Divine Universe Heavenly Dragon Egg Yolk's energy. Although she is transformed into a dragon, she still has the ability of a poisonous dragon spider. Just now, Long Tianji released a signal and forced back a large group of poisonous dragon spiders. After all, she used to be a spider queen, and now she has become so formidable. That kind of might is still there. Li Longxian saw that the gorgeous woman Qin Yun suddenly let out is so formidable, and he feels even more admiration in his heart. Master, rest assured, these poisonous dragon spiders will not harm you again. I have already communicated with them. Long Tianji said. Qin Yun said, Tianji, ask these poisonous dragon spiders, is there an end ahead? Long Tianji nodded and began communicating with these poisonous dragon spiders. Not long after, Long Tianji said, Master, there is an end ahead, but that wall can be broken. Then asked them again, what do we need to pay attention to here? Qin Yun said. Long Tianji communicated with those poisonous dragon spiders and very quickly got an answer. She said, there's a kind of strange spirit here. It can bewitch people's mind and make them sink into a kind of hallucinatory state. They will become very painful or even lose consciousness. Right. Li Longxian promptly nodded. I was almost killed before. All right, thank you very much. Qin Yun faintly smiled at Long Tianji, gently caressed her beautiful and alluring face, and then sent her back to the nine-sun divine soul. Li Longxian said in low voice, Master Qin, these strange spirits are very dreadful. Have you thought a way to deal with them? Qin Yun said with smile, temporarily not. But don't worry, I will think of a way when the time comes. The poisonous dragon spiders opened up a passage on the wall. While walking through, Li Longxian felt fear in his heart because there are densely packed large spiders all around and above the passage. Although he knows that these large spiders won't attack people, he still feels very scared. After a while, Qin Yun and Li Longxian arrived at the end. Master Qin, last time I came here, I picked up those 2 stone slabs. Li Longxian said, the runes on those 2 stone slabs are still damaged. I suspect that they are damaged because they left the place where they were kept. Qin Yun touched the stone wall at the end and said, have you tried to blast open the stone wall? I have. It is very hard. I can't open it. Li Longxian took out an awl, walked over and vigorously poked it, issuing a dang sound. After the crisp sound, the stone wall is still intact. Qin Yun used the mysterious penetration divine ability and tested it. His hand can penetrate the stone wall, causing Li Longxian to cry out in alarm. Qin Yun grabbed Li Longxuan's shoulder and said, let's go. After saying that, he led Li Longxian through the stone wall and arrived inside a stone room that flickered with golden light. Inside the stone room, there are 7 golden stone slabs. And near the stone slabs, there are many faint golden light rays lingering around. Even the stone walls here are covered with a layer of golden light mist. Li Longxian is incomparably excited and said, so this is the treasure trove. After saying that, he was about to rush over. Qin Yun promptly grabbed him and said with a frown, don't go over, it's dangerous. Li Longxian promptly jumped behind Qin Yun and said in low voice, Master Qin, what kind of danger is there? Why didn't I discover it? The strange spirits were born here, Qin Yun said with a frown. When he entered, he used his heavenly eye to see the faint golden energy. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew over. Li Longxian immediately screamed in pain. Qin Yun promptly released a very strong nethermoon mental power and formed a barrier that enveloped Li Longxian. After Li Longxuan's pain disappeared, he gasped for breath. His face is deathly pale. He is very clear that if Qin Yun did not suddenly take action, he would have been finished. Qin Yun released the nether moon and released its devouring power. The nether moon slowly rotated and gathered the golden light from all around. Half an hour passed. The originally golden and dazzling stone room has become pitch black. Qin Yin took out a light-emitting stone and illuminated the 7 stone slabs on the ground. He said, "I really did not expect that these 7 stone slabs would actually give birth to a strange spirit body." "The stone slabs gave birth to it?" Li Longxian said in shock. Qin Yin inspected the stone slabs. The sun dragon totem on them is very well preserved. He put away the stone slabs and exclaimed in admiration, "These strange spirits are very powerful. They can use the runes on the stone slabs to refine the heaven and earth energy and even condense them into runes." The ancient tomb's powerful barrier was created by these strange spirits. "Fortunately, Master Qin is here, otherwise I would not have known about this place," Li Longxian said with a smile. Chapter 1998. Inside the heaven-leaping shuttle, Qin Yin kept thinking about the sun dragon totem. Not long after, the heaven-leaping shuttle arrived outside the city. After Li Longxian bade farewell to Qin Yin, he left the heavenly leaping shuttle and returned to the Li family manor. As for Qin Yin, he controlled the heaven-leaping shuttle to fly to a place where the space was weak. He wanted to return to the immortal desolate. "Little Yin, didn't you study the sun dragon totem in your previous life?" Ling Yin'er asked. "Not long after I obtained the sun dragon totem, I was targeted by the heavenly law divine realm," Qin Yin said. "The situation at that time was very urgent. I didn't have a time to delve into it." "Is the natural law divine realm also looking for this sun dragon totem?" Ling Yin'er asked in shock. "And luckily it did not fall into their hands." Qin Yin sighed and said, "This sun dragon totem is far more important than I imagined." Ling Yin'er said, "When you were the king of the Nanyang Palace, you wanted to create a powerful primal divine sun. This sun dragon totem should be very important. The key is possessing the sun dragon totem is the first step to creating a heavenly sun. If I contain the sun seed, it will be even easier. Unfortunately, I can't go to Sacred Desolate right now," Qin Yin said. The heaven-leaping shuttle had already pierced through space and returned to the immortal desolate. Not long after returning to the immortal desolate sacred master contacted Qin Yin. "Boss Divine King, the sacred desolate gate has appeared. Did you go take a look?" The immortal desolate sacred master contacted Qin Yin through the mirror. "Gate of the sacred desolate?" Qin Yin was somewhat astonished as he said, "This gate of the sacred desolate has not appeared in a long time. It's really strange for it to appear now. I've already rushed over. Are you going?" Sacred Master of Immortal Desolate said. "Where is it?" asked Qin Yin. The Immortal Desolate Sacred Master told Qin Yin the location of the Sacred Desolate Gate. Qin Yin immediately controlled the heaven-leaping shuttle and flew towards the entrance of the Sacred Desolate. Ling Yin'er asked, "Xiao Yin, what's going on with the gate of the Sacred Wasteland?" The Sacred Desolate Gate is a very mystical existence. It's a door to enter the Sacred Desolate. Qin Yin said with a frown, "It's really strange. I thought that the Sacred Desolate Gate was already gone. After breaking through to the peak of the ninth heaven immortal emperor realm and becoming a sage, aren't they sucked into the sage grade space? Isn't that gate superfluous?" Ling Yun'er said, "No, the Sacred Desolate Gate is unique to the Nine Suns heavenly region. There are many such spatial gates in the Nine Suns heavenly region." Qin Yun explained, "If you transform into a sacred near the Sacred Desolate's gate, you won't be sucked into the Sacred Desolate immediately. You can open the gate and enter the Sacred Desolate." Ling Yun quickly said, "Could it be that there are other benefits to entering the Sacred Wasteland through the gate of the Sacred Wasteland?" Qin Yun nodded and said with a smile, "That's right. It can be said to be a reward bestowed by the Nine Suns, but it is not easy to open that door." "What kind of reward will there be?" Ling Yun'er asked. "I don't know, because not many people can open the gate of Sacred Desolate, and I don't have this kind of experience," Qin Yun said. Not long after, news of the appearance of the sacred desolate gate spread through the magic mirror. Many people who were preparing to become saints immediately headed towards the vicinity of the sacred desolate gate. Regarding the matter of the sacred desolate gate, it was also released by the immortal desolate sacred master. He understood these things better. In just a short while, Qin Yun arrived near the entrance of the sacred desolate. On a spacious and empty land, a 10,000-meter tall golden door appeared. This tightly closed door is emitting waves of golden, sacred energy. There are many runes carved on the door. This grand and huge golden door is the sacred desolate gate. If one were to look high up in the sky, they would be able to see that the sacred desolate gate is inside a huge golden ring. With the sacred desolate gate as the center, the area with a radius of 100,000 meters is inside the golden ring. That's the sacred gate's domain. Qin Yun looked at the huge halo and said, "If you become a saint within the sacred gate's domain, you won't be sucked into the sacred desolate. You can challenge and open the sacred gate." Ling Yun said, "Can anyone enter the sacred gate's domain?" Qin Yun left the heaven-leaping shuttle and floated in the air. He said, "Only 9th-stage immortal emperors can enter." At this moment, he is outside the sacred gate's domain. Many people have already arrived, but they are unable to enter because they are not 9th-stage immortal emperors. The crowd below suddenly let out a cry of alarm, because a giant flying city has arrived. Heaven Creation City, Qin Yun said with a smile. "Are the people of Heaven Creation City coming to open the sacred gate?" Xiao Yun, can a sacred transformation expert like Zhang Shangxian open the door? Ling Yun asked. Sure. Just as Qin Yun finished speaking, a beam of light shot out from the Heaven Creation City. Qin Yun kept the heaven-leaping shuttle and immediately chased after it. Just now, a person flew out from the Heaven Creation City, that is Zhang Shangxian. If Zhang Shangxian left the Heaven Creation City, he would be sucked into the sacred desolate. However, the moment he left the city, he entered the sacred gate's domain, so he did not enter the sacred desolate. Ling Yun said with a smile. Previously, so many people entered the sacred desolate early. They suffered a great loss. Not necessarily, because not everyone can open the sacred gate. Qin Yun said with a smile. Besides, to be able to encounter the sacred gate, this is also a kind of opportunity. Zhang Shangxian left the Heaven Creation City and flew towards the sacred desolate's gate. His speed is extremely fast. Qin Yun's speed is also not slow. He immediately chased after him. In addition, Immortal Desolate's Sacred Master and Heartless Immortal Venerable also flew towards Zhang Shangxian. Zhang Shangxian, Qin Yun shouted as he approached. Sect Master Qin. When Zhang Shangxian saw Qin Yun, he was slightly alarmed and then said with a smile, "I thought you had already gone to the sacred desolate. You can't be waiting for the sacred gate to appear, right?" To be honest, I haven't cultivated sacred veins yet, so it's still too early for me to become a sacred saint, Qin Yun said with a smile. At this moment, Immortal Desolate's Sacred Master and Heartless Immortal Venerable also arrived. Immortal Desolate's Sacred Master looked at the Sacred Desolate's gate and said in shock, "The sacred gate really appeared. I thought that after the 9 Yang Divine Palace left the 9 Yang Heavenly Domain, the sacred gate would never appear again. The relationship between the 9 Yang Divine Palace and the sacred gate isn't that great," Qin Yun said. "The spatial gates of the various gates are mainly controlled by the Heaven Creation Divine Palace, above the Ancient Desolate." Immortal Desolate's Sacred Master nodded. He knew that Qin Yun has already recovered the memories of the King of Gods. That's why he knows these things. In addition, Qin Yun was once the king of the 9 Yang Palace, the founder of the 9 Yang Divine Palace. Zhang Shangxian said with a smile, "My luck is pretty good. I've finally waited for the sacred gate to appear." Immortal Desolate's Sacred Master chuckled and said, "Old Zhang, you have been hiding in the Immortal Desolate and not leaving. So you were waiting for the sacred gate to appear. I have to say, you really hit the jackpot." Emotionless, immortal, venerable, he said with a smile. Old Zhang, if you can't open the sacred gate, then it would be embarrassing. I have made ample preparations for today. I will definitely be able to open it. Zhang Shengxian said with a smile. Friends, if we are fated, we will definitely meet again. We will meet again in the future. After speaking, Zhang Shengxian flew towards the sacred gate's gate. Outside the sacred gate's domain, many people saw someone flying towards the sacred gate. Furthermore, that person is releasing very powerful saint power. Even though they were outside the holy gate's domain, everyone could feel the powerful saint energy undulations. Many 7th and 8th stage immortal emperors sense this level of saint power. While they are shocked, they also yearn for it. Many disciples of Heaven Creation City's Heaven Creation Palace flew out and looked at Zhang Shengxian, who is flying towards the sacred gate. Zhang Shengxian quickly arrived in front of the huge sacred gate. He spread his arms and released the most powerful saint power from his body. The saint power rushed forward, wanted to push open the huge gate. Berserk saint power roared crazily. The entire earth trembled violently. Ka ka ka. A crisp sound came out. The sacred gate was pushed a little. Everyone let out a burst of exclamations. Zhang Shengxian, just a little bit more, work hard. Emotionless, immortal, venerable shouted. This guy's saint power is quite strong. Immortal Desolate's sacred master said. He should be able to open the sacred gate. The saint power released by Zhang Shengxian is extremely berserk. It has already shocked the immortal emperors outside the sacred gate's domain. However, even so, the sacred gate only moved a little. Ling Yun asked, Xiao Yun, can you go and help? Qin Yun looked at the sacred gate and replied, I can't. If I go and help, the sacred gate will only close even more. Zhang Shengxian suddenly let out a deep roar. He has always been refined, but now the clothes on his upper body are torn apart. His muscles swelled up, and the berserk saint power caused many sinister veins to appear on the surface of his skin. It can be seen that Zhang Shengxian is now going all out. The saint power he released became even stronger, and the gate was pushed open a little more. However, his power is still far from enough. At this moment, Zhang Shengxian drew runes with his 10 fingers. He used inscription battle technique. He crazily urged the strongest power in his body and drew many complicated runes in the void. Seeing this scene, everyone exclaimed in admiration again and again. Zhang Shengxian's saint power is already very strong, but he is still unable to completely open the gate. Many 9th stage immortal emperors feel that even if they become saints, they still don't have enough strength to open the sacred gate. One must know that Zhang Shengxian has already become a saint for many years and has always been cultivating inside Heaven Creation City. He is not someone that those experts who have just become saints can compare to. Even so, Zhang Shengxian risked half his life and still failed to open the sacred gate. After a moment, Zhang Shengxian turned into a rune. Crash! That rune condensed powerful saint power and burst out, turning into a golden river that rushed towards the sacred gate. Then, Zhang Shengxian released all the remaining saint power in his body. It fused into the river formed by the runes. At this moment, the sacred gate finally opened and a crack appeared. From the crack, a burst of intense and berserk golden energy leaked out. Very strong divine cosmos power. Qin Yun said in shock, Is this the reward for opening the sacred gate? At this moment, Zhang Shengxian looks like he's been squeezed dry. His entire body is extremely weak. He gritted his teeth and controlled his body to fly towards the crack that appeared in the sacred gate. Under the gaze of tens of thousands of people, Zhang Shengxian's tiny body staggered into the crack of the huge sacred gate and disappeared in the intense golden light. Bang! Chapter 1999. After the gate of the sacred wasteland closed, everyone was shocked and could not calm down for a long time. Just now, everyone saw that in order to open the sacred gate, Zhang Shengxian had made himself half crippled. If the Sacred Wastelands Gate had not been opened in the end, then Zhang Shengxian would definitely be lying on the ground with heavy injuries. Although the Heaven Creation City had just arrived in the Immortal Desolate was very familiar with the Heaven Creation Mansion because it was the place where the Heaven Creation City trained powerful disciples. Zhang Shengxian was the manager of the Heaven Creation Mansion, so his reputation was not small. Therefore, everyone knew that Zhang Shengxian was an expert who had become a saint for many years. It was already so difficult for experts who had become saints for many years to open the door to the Sacred Wasteland, let alone those who had just become saints. Although everyone knew that it was very difficult to open the Sacred Desolate Gate, there were still many 9th-stage immortal emperors who released mansions that were made into magic treasures to stay in the Sacred Gate domain. Sect Master Qin, even if you become a saint, I don't think you'll be able to open it. Immortal Supremacy Heartless said with a smile, that door is really powerful. I'm scared just looking at it. The Heartless Immortal Venerable was also a sacred transformation stage powerhouse. He had interacted with Zhang Shengxian several times and had a better understanding of Zhang Shengxian's strength. He didn't think that he was stronger than Zhang Shengxian, so he was sure that he couldn't open it. I haven't become a saint yet. Let's talk about it after I become a saint. Qin Yin chuckled and said, I'm going to stay in the Sacred Gates domain for a long time and attack the Saint Realm. Cultivating in the Sacred Gates domain might make it easier to break through. Immortal Desolate's Sacred Master said, especially for cultivating sacred veins, it will be of great help. Emotionless Immortal Venerable said with a smile, I plan to stay in the Immortal Desolate forever. I think this is pretty good. For example, the Immortal Desolate Sacred Master and Heartless Immortal Venerable were appointed to protect the Immortal Desolate, but they still had the chance to enter the Sacred Desolate. That's right, in this Immortal Desolate, we can be considered the strongest. The Sacred Master of the Immortal Desolate smiled and said, Then we will leave first. We won't take up the energy of the Holy Gates domain. After Immortal Venerable Heartless and Immortal Desolate's Sacred Master left, Qin Yin landed on the ground and chose a location far away from the Sacred Desolate's entrance. This location wasn't very close to the borders of the Saint Gates territory. Many people chose to stay close to the Holy Gate because they felt that they would be able to absorb the energy released by the Holy Gate. The energy released by the Sacred Gate was of great help to many 9th Heaven Immortal Emperors, but Qin Yin didn't need it. He had the 9 Dragons Heavenly Origin Array, the Divine Universe Amethyst, and a large number of Divine Universe Golden Stones. The energy released by the Saint Gate was negligible to him. Xiao Yun, in this Holy Gate domain, it should be easier to cultivate holy veins. Ling Yun smiled and said, You must have confidence in yourself. Yin it's not the lack of resources that's hindering my cultivation of the sacred bloodline. It's the heavenly punishment. Qin Yun sighed and said, This damned heavenly punishment is very mystical. I can feel it, but I don't know how to get rid of it. Ling Yun and Qin Yun have been together for a long time, so she naturally knows that this kind of heavenly punishment is strange. There are 2 types of heavenly punishment. One is the heavenly tribulation lightning. Although the heavenly tribulation lightning is very powerful, it is nothing to Qin Yun. The other kind of heavenly punishment was like a curse, inexplicably imposed on the person being punished. Both Qin Yun's previous life and present life have encountered such cursed heavenly punishment. Is there really no way to get rid of it? Ling Yun is also very depressed. If Qin Yun can't cultivate holy veins, he can only stay in the Immortal Desolate. Qin Yun said, I can only try and see if I can break through this kind of cursed heavenly punishment. In your life as the King of Gods, how did you break through the bottleneck and enter the Sacred Desolate? Ling Yun asked. I was born in the Divine Desolate. Qin Yun said, My starting point in this life can be said to be the lowest. Moreover, my spirit vein was destroyed at the beginning, leaving only one son's spirit vein. Ling Yun smiled and said, Although it is the lowest starting point, it made you deeply understand the hardships of walking step by step. Qin Yun released the floating cloud pagoda and entered it. When he arrived at the 20th floor, he saw the altar flickering with multicolored light. "Big Sister Star God, you came out of seclusion?" Qin Yun said in surprise. Wearing a thin purple dress, a charming beauty with a faintly discernible jade-like body appeared in front of Qin Yun. In front of Qin Yun, Star God is as flirtatious and enchanting as always. She has not seen Qin Yun for a long time, so she is dressed very gorgeously. Star God is sitting on the altar, crossing her pair of jade-white beautiful legs. She is looking at Qin Yun with her charming eyes. Her expression is gentle and charming. "Many thanks, little brother Xiao Yun, for the sacrifice. I broke through a great realm," Star God said with charming smile. "If not for the fact that I can only appear as a phantom image, I would have kissed you. No need to be so polite." Qin Yun laughed and said, "I have not been able to contact you for a long time. I was very worried. Seeing that you can smoothly come out of seclusion, I feel a lot more relieved." Star God said with charming smile, "Little brother Xiao Yun has always been worried about me, causing my heart to be in chaos. What should I do?" "Big Sister Star God, don't cause trouble." Qin Yun took out a few large, soul-sealing pearls and said with mischievous smile, "I can only use these remnant souls as sacrifice to appease Big Sister Star God's heart." Star God's eyes flickered with rippling light. She looked at Qin Yun with tender affection and said with annoyed smile, Big Sister Star God's heart is in chaos now. Let's begin." Qin Yun shook his head and let out Xian Rujing. After Xian Rujing came out, she saw Star God is trying to seduce Qin Yun. She coldly groaned and said, "Demon, why are you wearing so little? Your body is not as good as mine, yet you are wearing so revealing clothes. Don't you know shame?" "Little Sister Bingxue, how can my body not be as good as yours?" Star God said with charming smile. "How about we compete and let little brother Xiao Yun judge?" While speaking, she giggled and used a very charming and very provocative posture to take off her clothes. "Big Sister Star God, what is the situation in Divine Desolate?" After the heavenly law Divine Domain appeared, it wants to rule over Divine Desolate. Are you affected? Qin Yun promptly interrupted Star God. This wretched heavenly law Divine Domain is joining hands with a group of scoundrels to stir up havoc in Divine Desolate. Speaking about this matter, Star God very angrily said, "Especially those 9 Sun sects. They're trying to capture me again. The most infuriating thing is that they made some Divine Desolate Beauty list and put me at 99th place. Qin Yun learned from Evil God that the heavenly law Divine Domain wants to unify Divine Desolate. Originally, when the imperial race gathered the 9 Sun sects and gods, Star God did not continue to be chased by those 2 9 Sun sects. And now, the heavenly law Divine Domain is supporting those sects to fight against the imperial race. Apparently, they want to defeat the imperial race." Xian Rujing said, "Big Sister Star God, you must be careful. First accept Xiao Yun's death sacrifice and become stronger." "Big Sister Star God, do you have any news about Heavenly Lion King?" Qin Yun asked. After Heavenly Lion King obtained his heart, he was sucked into Divine Desolate. "Yes, this guy is being chased. It is also very miserable," Star God said. "As soon as I came out, I heard that this formidable Heavenly Lion King has caused a lot of trouble." Qin Yun said with grave expression, "It seems like I have to go to Divine Desolate as soon as possible." At this time, Qin Yun also began sacrificing. Star God said in low voice, "Little brother Xiao Yun, the gods have closed the passage to lower realms. I can't send you anything for now." "It doesn't matter," Qin Yun said with smile. "That won't do. It must be very difficult for you to collect remnant souls for me." Star God said in charming voice, "I must compensate you. How about this? I will dance for you. I will take off my clothes while dancing. No need, no need." Qin Yun promptly said. Xian Rujing promptly covered Qin Yun's eyes and said, "Xiao Yun, don't look at her dancing. It is very irritating to the eyes." Star God pouted coquettishly and said, "Little Sister Bingxue, How can you be like this? My dancing is very beautiful. Big sister star god, roughly when will you be able to send something down? I need you to help me get something down. Qin Yun asked. First tell me what it is. When the passage opens, I will immediately send it to you. Star god said, Divine flame leaf. If you can't get a whole leaf, grind it into powder and get it to me. Qin Yun said, what do you want this kind of thing for? The divine flame leaf is not something rare. The star god asked. It is useful. Qin Yun said with smile. Thank you in advance. Star god said with charming smile. No need to be polite. The death sacrifice this time is much more than last time. I am really grateful to you, my adorable little brother Xiao Yun. Not long after, the death sacrifice is completed. All right, this time the energy of the death sacrifice is too much. My location will surely be exposed. I will hide first and talk later goodbye. Star God promptly left. This slut. Xian Rujing lightly groaned and said, Sister Rujing, Sacred Desolate's entrance is here. Do you want to try opening it? You should be able to transform into Sacred Spirit Realm, right? Qin Yun asked. I have already cultivated Sacred Spirit Vein. I heard that you have not cultivated it yet. Is that true? Xian Rujing said in low voice. Qin Yun nodded and said, Indeed, it is very difficult for me to cultivate. Xian Rujing's expression is very complicated. She bit her lips and said in low voice, Of course, because you only have one vein. But your Sacred Sun vein is very powerful. If it evolves, it will become very strong. My Dual Spirit 8 immortal veins have already evolved into Dual Spirit 8 sacred veins, if you let me help you. You will soon have sacred veins. Your one vein plus my 8 veins will be 9 veins. After we fuse together, we will both have 9 Sacred Sun veins. Qin Yun naturally knows. He lightly sighed, held Xian Rujing's lily-white hand, and said in low voice, Thank you, Sister Rujing. In order to let me cultivate Sacred Spirit Vein, you made such a great sacrifice. But I want to cultivate on my own. Xian Rujing wanted to say something, but stopped. She bit her lips and then tightly hugged Qin Yun. She leaned into Qin Yun's bosom and said in low voice, Xiao Yun, there is no need to sacrifice. You have helped me many times. Now, helping me cultivate Sacred Spirit Vein is the most important thing. No need to be polite. No need. I can cultivate on my own. I just need a bit of time. Qin Yun wanted to push Xian Rujing away. Xian Rujing immediately became very angry. She stamped her foot, opened her mouth, and ruthlessly bit Qin Yun's arm. Chapter 2000. Xian Rujing's beautiful eyes are filled with hidden bitterness and tenderness, as well as a bit of anger. Qin Yun immediately held her in his arms and sat on a large chair. Xian Rujing lightly hammered Qin Yun's chest a few times and then bit Qin Yun's wrist. Are you loosening the reins only to grasp better? Xian Rujing coldly groaned and said, You wretched honest Qin, you are definitely tricking me, making me so passive. Qin Yun gently caressed her beautiful hair. Looking at her cool and elegant face, he said with smile, Sister Rujing, we have known each other for so long. I've also been forcefully kissed by you a few times. How can I not understand you? Then why are you making all sorts of excuses? Xian Rujing spat in low voice. I originally wanted to go to Sacred Desolate. I found out that you have not cultivated Sacred Vein, so I stayed behind to accompany you. But you are not grateful at all. You are so infuriating. Finished speaking, she bit Qin Yun's arm again. Qin Yun pinched her thigh, then gently caressed her hand and said with sigh, I have heavenly punishment. It is very difficult for me to cultivate Sacred Vein. If you help me break the heavenly punishment, I am worried that you will be implicated. Xian Rujing is startled. She now knows why Qin Yun is rejecting her so much. So this is the reason. Xiao Yun, I am sorry, I misunderstood you. Xian Rujing suddenly said with guilt. It doesn't matter. Qin Yun laughed, then lowered his head and kissed Ice Goddess. Both of them intimately hugged and kissed. Although Xian Rujing is Ice Goddess, her whole body is now very warm. It is as if a dense flame of love is ignited in her heart. Late at night, the golden and dazzling sacred desolate gate illuminated the entire sacred gate domain. This huge sacred gate is erected on the ground. It is like a bright lamp illuminating a large area. Qin Yun and Xian Rujing are inside the floating cloud pagoda. They are hugging each other and sitting on a chair, looking at the huge sacred desolate gate. Xian Rujing said, "Xiao Yun, I am not afraid of heavenly punishment." "What if heavenly punishment kills you?" Qin Yun asked. "I am also not afraid, as long as I can help you cultivate sacred vein." Xian Rujing said, "But I am afraid that I will never see you again." Qin Yun pinched her arm and said with a smile, "No one will bite me in the future." Xian Rujing very anxiously said, "Then what should we do? You can't cultivate a saint bloodline, and I can't help you." Qin Yun said, "That's why I want to cultivate by myself first. What if it doesn't work? Wouldn't that waste a lot of time?" Xian Rujing pursed her lips and said, "Don't think too much. We will start now. Sister Yuelon and Sister Kiru told me that if we cultivate Sun and Moon Heart Sutra 3rd level with you, we can help you cultivate sacred veins." Qin Yun frowned and said, "When did they tell you?" Xian Rujing lightly groaned and said, "I said it long ago, especially that bad girl Yuelon. She taught me all day long. She really underestimated me, thinking that I don't understand anything. When I see her next time, I'll have to spank her butt. She's actually going too far." Qin Yun deliberately said angrily, "There is no need to hit her." Xian Rujing coldly smiled. "Yuelon and Yu Shaoling, these two bad girls have been bitten by me many times. My ice goddess's ice teeth and snow mouth are not to be trifled with. These two girls have soft skin and tender flesh, so it feels good to bite them." Qin Yun said with a smile, "Really? They have been bitten by you? Yuelon never told me about it." Xian Rujing said, "She is afraid of losing face, so she doesn't dare to say it." "Sister Rujing, return to Nine Sun Divine Soul first. I will go into seclusion next. Wait until I cultivate sacred veins. Then I will be able to break through this heavenly punishment." Qin Yun said. After breaking through, Xian Rujing looked at Qin Yun with tender affection. Her lily-white hands gently caressed Qin Yun's handsome face and said, "You will definitely be able to do it." Qin Yun nodded and placed Ice Goddess back into Nine Sun Divine Soul. Ling Yun said, "Xiao Yun, if she helps you break the cursed heavenly punishment, what will the consequences be?" "I don't know. My cursed heavenly punishment is imposed on me by strict heavenly rules. This is mainly because back then I was once an enemy of the heavenly Tao and wanted to break the heavenly rules set by the heavenly Tao. That's why I've been suppressed for so many years." Qin Yun said, and later on, the heavenly law divine realm became even more severe towards me. Suppression. Speaking of this matter, Qin Yun can't help but recall the several lifetimes he was tortured. He was alone, exiled to various heavenly domains, and suffered all kinds of cruel torture. He spent many years alone and in pain. Those days were worse than death to him. Finally, he was tortured to death. But after reincarnation, he was tortured since childhood. Heavenly Law Divine Domain didn't let him die. They let him live for a very long time to torture his soul and body. Because no matter how I was tortured, I never feared the ruthless and callous Heavenly Law Divine Domain. Therefore, Heavenly Law Divine Domain branded indelible and painful memories in the depths of my soul, made me fear them at all times. Qin Yun looked at Sacred Desolate's gate. His expression suddenly became very distant. He recalled those incomparably painful and long years. He became very calm and tranquil. He closed his eyes and began wholeheartedly cultivating his sacred veins. He can absorb Nine Suns' energy through Nine Sun Divine Soul. That is why he has not used his Sacred Sun vein for many years. Even so, his Sacred Sun vein has always been strengthening. Qin Yun released his absolute yang power to sense the Sacred Sun vein hidden in his body and tightly wrapped it up. Spirit veins are very mystical things. They're very closely integrated with the body and soul. Qin Yin once had several spirit veins extracted. That was the pain he experienced during his childhood. Even now, he's still engraved that kind of pain in his heart. He is currently using a very common method to cultivate, which is to use the sacred power he cultivated to wrap around the sacred sun vein and let it absorb the sacred power. Because his body and soul are already sacred spirit's sacred body, it has a great effect on the sacred sun vein. After a ninth-stage immortal emperor cultivates the sacred spirit's sacred body, as long as the immortal veins in his body can evolve into sacred veins, he will be able to enter the sacred desolate. Many powerful ninth-stage immortal emperors are stuck at the threshold of sacred veins. Qin Yun is also at this threshold now. In the past, those ninth-stage immortal emperors were unable to break through mainly because of the lack of resources. But now that the immortal desolate is so rich in resources, it is not difficult to cultivate sacred veins. Qin Yun's resources are very abundant, but he is unable to cultivate them. This is mainly because of the curse of the heavenly punishment. The power of this curse is very mysterious. It is as if it is branded in Qin Yun's soul and will restrict him from cultivating sacred veins. In the blink of an eye, a month passed. Qin Yun suddenly heard a muffled sound. He opened his eyes and saw someone attacking the sacred desolate's door. A sacred transformation realm expert is going to open the door of the sacred desolate. The sacred transformation realm expert is an old man. He is currently roaring loudly and constantly releasing sacred power from his body in an attempt to push open the door. He tried for a long time, but the door did not budge at all. There are also many people watching. When they saw that the old man did not succeed, they all let out long sighs of regret. The old man did not succeed, but he consumed a lot of energy. Because he released too much power, his body suffered heavy injuries. Although he cultivated a sacred body, his sacred body is not strong enough. Qin Yin shook his head. Many people can cultivate sacred spirit's sacred body, but they can't achieve balance. Ling Yin'er said, "That old man's sacred power is not weak, but his body is too weak, restricting the usage of sacred power." Qin Yin nodded and said, "Yes. It's the same for Zhang Shengxian. Otherwise, he wouldn't have nearly exploded his body." "Xiao Yin, what about you?" Ling Yin'er asked. "Me? I don't know," Qin Yin said with a smile. "I might have the same problem, but I should be able to open the door of the sacred desolate." Qin Yin cultivated for a month, but he did not make any progress in cultivating sacred veins. He had no other choice but to continue cultivating. Soon, another 3 months passed. During this period, sacred transformation realm experts came to attack the door one after another. Not only humans, even a few sacred transformation realm inscription beasts came. It has to be said that sacred transformation realm inscription beasts are very powerful. 2 of them were actually able to open the door of the sacred desolate and smoothly enter the sacred desolate. In comparison, not a single one of the sacred transformation realm human experts could open the door of the sacred desolate. The inscription beasts were indeed powerful. Even if they opened the door of the sacred desolate, they would not become as weak as Zhang Shengxian. 3 months passed. Qin Yin still did not succeed. And inside his 9-sun divine soul, Xian Rujing, Zi Qinsheng, Shui Tianzi, and Long Tianji have already cultivated sacred veins. They are all sacred transformation realm experts. Qin Yin also did not continue cultivating. He is very clear that no matter how much he continues, he will not be able to improve. Xiao Yun, sacred veins are your bottleneck. You can't cultivate sacred veins. You can't grow. Ling Yun sighed and said, "This heavenly punishment is truly ferocious. I can only think of another way." Qin Yin said helplessly, "How about this? You go capture those scoundrels who have cultivated sacred veins, pull out their sacred veins, and devour them." Ling Yun suddenly said, "I can't." Qin Yin shook his head. "Cultivating sacred veins is not that easy." Xian Rujing came out of the 9-sun divine soul and faintly sighed. "Xiao Yun, you still haven't cultivated sacred veins?" She is wearing a snow-white long skirt. Her body is overflowing with sacred power. Her skirt is slowly fluttering in the wind, making her look even more gorgeous and moving. Not yet. Qin Yin shook his head and said, "It doesn't matter. I will think of a way. There is nothing that can stop me." Xian Rujing looked at the door of the sacred desolate and said, "Xiao Yun, try using nine-dragon heavenly origin formation. I heard Sister Karu say that nine-dragon heavenly origin formation is a very heaven-defying existence. Maybe it will work? I will give it a try." Qin Yun arrived at the third floor and released the nine-dragon mark heavenly sabers. Xian Rujing also arrived at the third floor and said, "How about this? I will release my sacred veins. I have duo spirit sacred veins. Maybe I can assimilate sacred veins." Chapter 2001. Qin Yin also thought of using nine-dragon heavenly origin formation before, but he was worried that it would cause the opposite effect and trigger even stronger curse heavenly punishment. Now he has no other choice but to release nine-dragon heavenly origin formation to give it a try. "Sister Rujing, don't release your sacred vein yet. I will try cultivating it first," Qin Yin said. "All right." Xian Rujing nodded and said, "I will wait for you on the side. If you don't succeed, I will take action." Qin Yin wants to prevent Xian Rujing from participating as much as possible to avoid suffering the mysterious curse heavenly punishment. Yin Long said before that heavenly law is dead. But heartless heavenly law is still operating, is an even more direct and brutal existence. Qin Yun is the enemy of heavenly law. If Xian Rujing helps him become stronger, she will most likely be punished by heavenly law. Qin Yun sat in the middle of nine-dragon heavenly origin formation and controlled it to operate. Nine-dragon heavenly origin formation released nine-colored light and poured into Qin Yun's body. Qin Yun used his formidable mental power to gather the energy released by nine-dragon heavenly origin formation together and wrapped up his sacred sun vein. After being wrapped up by the nine-colored energy, the sacred sun vein became irritable and restless. Qin Yun can only slow down the infusion of energy. He wants to slowly push the nine-dragon heavenly origin array's energy into the sacred sun meridian to strengthen it. After a while, Qin Yun discovered that there is a bit of effect and immediately became very happy. "Xiao Yun, is there any effect?" Xian Rujing saw Qin Yun's smiling face and promptly asked. "There is a bit of effect." Qin Yun nodded and said, "I will continue to try." He discovered that his sacred sun vein can now absorb energy. However, the sacred sun vein is forced to absorb energy. Under normal circumstances, energy absorption should be done naturally. Qin Yun feels that his situation is rather special. There is no harm in forcing the sacred sun vein to absorb energy. Only the energy released by nine-dragon heavenly origin formation can force the sacred sun vein to absorb. Xian Rujing felt relieved hearing Qin Yun say that there is some effect. "How is the progress?" Xian Rujing asked after waiting for 2 days. "Not bad. It is steadily absorbing. It is only a matter of time now," Qin Yun said with a smile. "How about you return to Nine Sun, Divine Soul first? With Sister Steam Bun and others here, it won't be so boring," Qin Yun said with a smile. "Why don't you return to the Nine Sun, Divine Soul first? With Sister Steam Bun and the others together, it won't be so boring." "No need. I will wait for you here." Xian Rujing is now a sacred transformation expert, and her strength is also very strong. If there was any sudden situation, she would be able to solve it in time. Qin Yun knows that Xian Rujing is worried about him, and his heart feels warm. The effects of cultivating in the Nine Dragons' heavenly origin formation were becoming more and more obvious. Qin Yun gathered the nine-dragon heavenly origin formation's energy together and forcefully pushed it into the sacred sun meridian. In order to prevent the sacred sun meridian from becoming too violent, he slowly pushed it in, step by step. As a result, his sacred sun meridian was growing stronger and stronger. In a blink of an eye, Qin Yun cultivated for more than a month. Xian Rujing did not return to the Nine Sun Divine Soul. When she feels bored, she goes up and down the floating cloud pagoda. There are 20 floors in the pagoda. She often finds a floor and releases a bathtub to bathe. Seeing that Qin Yun's condition is gradually stabilizing, Xian Rujing's mood also became a lot more relaxed. She was very worried about Qin Yun before. Nighttime, Xian Rujing finished her bath and changed into clean and simple purple clothes. Then she arrived at the third floor where Qin Yun is. She arrived at the third floor and immediately let out a cry of alarm. "Xiao Yun, how are you?" Xian Rujing yelled in alarm. Qin Yun is sitting inside the nine-dragon heavenly origin formation. The clothes on his upper body burst open and his body expanded by a size. What caused Xian Rujing to be most alarmed is that a small hole has appeared on Qin Yun's forehead. A nine-colored light belt is coming out of it like a snake. It wants to drill out of Qin Yun's head. The nine-colored light belt is like a rainbow. It looks very beautiful, but it is very manic. My sacred sun meridian wants to separate from my body. Qin Yun is in great pain, he yelled. This is the power of heavenly punishment curse. Xian Rujing is now at a loss of what to do. She promptly walked over. Just as she walked over, Qin Yun's sacred sun meridian suddenly burst out with a burst of energy wave. "Oh!" Qin Yun yelled in pain. The nine-colored light belt coming out from Qin Yun's forehead has now become a lot dimmer. Moreover, there are many cracks on it. The nine-colored light belt has shrunk back, but Qin Yun is extremely weak. He fell on the ground and gasped for breath. "Xiao Yun, your sacred sun meridian. Energy is leaking. Moreover, it is seriously damaged." Xian Rujing bit her lips. Her eyebrows are slightly creased. She is supporting the weak Qin Yun. She is very sad and very distressed. "I failed." Qin Yun lightly sighed and said, "It doesn't matter. There is still me." Xian Rujing said in soft voice. She sweetly smiled, pressed her lips on Qin Yun's, and tightly hugged him. "Sister Rujing, don't act recklessly." Qin Yun promptly sent sound transmission to Xian Rujing. He knows what she wants to do. "Xiao Yun, let me help you." Xian Rujing's gentle voice transmitted into Qin Yun's mind. Not long after, Qin Yun fell into the embrace of this ice and snow goddess. Their feelings suddenly became as thick as ocean. It is as if they fell into a gentle ocean. Even though the ocean is surging violently, they are still immersed in deep love, feeling each other's tenderness. Qin Yun suffered a backlash from cultivating sacred sun meridian and became very weak. But now that he is together with Xian Rujing and cultivating sun and Moonheart Sutra 3rd level, he very quickly recovered. And now, Qin Yun can finally feel Xian Rujing's duo spirit 8 sacred veins. His weak sacred sun meridian recovered very quickly. Xian Rujing's duo spirit 8 sacred veins suddenly appeared beside Qin Yun's sacred sun meridian and started intertwining with each other. Not long after, Qin Yun sensed that his sacred sun meridian is evolving very quickly. Moreover, he has 8 more meridians inside his body, total 9 meridians. Although Qin Yun has successfully cultivated 9 sacred sun meridian, he is still very weak. He still needs to continue cultivating. Qin Yun and Xian Rujing cultivated together for several days and then stopped. Sister Rujing. After the cultivation ended, Qin Yun looked at the exceptionally beautiful and elegant ice-cold beauty in his bosom and lightly yelled. Xian Rujing's eyes are closed. It looks like she is in deep sleep. Qin Yun's heart suddenly trembled. He immediately caressed her cheek and poured in formidable mental power to probe her situation. What caused him to be shocked is that Xian Rujing does not have 9 sacred sun meridian. Instead, she has other 9 sacred veins. After he came in contact with the 9 sacred veins, he only felt endless ice cold. Could it be 9 sacred veins? Qin Yun is endlessly shocked. She should have cultivated 9 sacred sun meridian. Ling Yun'er said, "Xiao Yun, now Sister Rujing looks very beautiful. I really want to touch her face." Qin Yun said with grave expression, "The situation is not right." "Why is it not right?" Ling Yun'er said with smile. "She is already your woman. You should be very happy." Qin Yun looked at the beauty in his bosom and could not help but shiver. Xian Rujing's body was very warm before, but now her body is becoming more and more ice-cold. Even though Qin Yun has formidable body, the ice-cold feeling from Xian Rujing's body pierced into his bone marrow and soul, causing him to shiver. Sister Rujing. Qin Yun is very worried and lightly yelled. Suddenly, Xian Rujing opened her eyes. Qin Yun is startled seeing Xian Rujing open her eyes. Xian Rujing's eyes do not have the least bit of emotion. They are incomparably ice-cold. There is even a trace of gloomy and cold feeling in them. You cultivated sacred veins, right? Xian Rujing said in cold voice, then slowly stood up and leisurely put on her clothes. Qin Yun said with frown. Sister Rujing, what happened? After Xian Rujing put on her clothes, her eyes are ice-cold and merciless. She turned around to look at Qin Yun and said in cold voice, Qin Yun, you helped me many times before. I owe you, so I use this kind of method to help you cultivate sacred veins. Qin Yun slightly frowned. He suddenly clenched his fists and said, Thank you. No need to thank me. We are even. You are not allowed to mention this matter to anyone. Xian Rujing said in cold voice. Sister Rujing, if possible, I really hope that you will not help me cultivate sacred veins. Qin Yun let out a long sigh. Oof, you have already enjoyed it, yet you still say such words. Qin Yun, I am very grateful to you for being able to have my current situation. Don't feel guilty. Xian Rujing said with sneer. Can we still be like before? Qin Yun asked. You can relax. We are not enemies. Maybe I used to love you, but now I have already forgotten that feeling. But I feel that it is very good. I like my emotionless and desireless self. Only like this can I be more like Ice Goddess. Xian Rujing said. Qin Yun gritted his teeth and said, Cursed heavenly punishment has landed on your body. It has deprived you of your emotions. Xian Rujing's cold eyes flickered with cold light. She said, Qin Yun, only like this can I become stronger. Ice Goddess God Position Inheritance said that only by being emotionless and desireless can one become stronger. This is exactly what I am pursuing. Then will you return to Guang Han Palace in the future? Qin Yun asked again. Xian Rujing said, Rest assured, as long as they don't harm me, I won't harm them. And if you are in trouble, I will surely come and help you. Qin Yun knew that Xian Rujing would be affected if she helped him cultivate sacred veins. Therefore, he did not want her to participate in this. Seeing Xian Rujing like this, he felt heartache. He promptly walked over and grabbed her lily-white hand. Don't touch me. Xian Rujing shook off Qin Yun's hand and said with frown. Qin Yun, quickly let me out. I want to open Sacred Desolate's entrance. You should forget about our relationship. Qin Yun feels very sad in his heart, but he has no other choice because this is cursed heavenly punishment. It is very difficult for him to break cursed heavenly punishment, not to mention that it is happening to Xian Rujing. Sister Rujing, I will not forget about our relationship. Since Heavenly Tao deprived us of our relationship, I will take it back from Heavenly Tao. Qin Yun said with expressionless face. His voice is filled with heavenly might. So long as I become heavenly, I can change everything. Xian Rujing retreated a few steps and said in cold voice, Then I wish you success. Be careful. Take care. Qin Yun waved his hand and sent Xian Rujing out. After Xian Rujing left, she did not even look back and flew towards Sacred Desolate's entrance. Chapter 2002. Xian Rujing flew towards Sacred Desolate's gate. On the way, she left behind a burst of ice-cold and oppressive aura. Qin Yun looked at that proud and aloof, ice-cold, beautiful figure and clenched his fists. He does not blame Xian Rujing at all. In order to help him cultivate sacred veins, Xian Rujing sacrificed her everything and helped him cultivate formidable 9-sun sacred veins. However, because of this, she suffered from heavenly punishment curse, causing her emotions to be stripped away. Qin Yun remembers that Xian Rujing said that even if she died, she would still help him cultivate sacred veins. Therefore, even though she knew the consequences, she still took great risk to help him. Thinking of this, Qinyan felt very moved in his heart, but also very unwell. Xiao Yun, think on the bright side, heavenly punishment curse does not take life. At least Sister Rujing is in her current state. She still has leeway. Ling Yuner said. If it takes her life, it would be the worst. Qin Yun nodded and said, since Sister Rujing is not afraid of death, heavenly punishment curse directly taking her life is meaningless. It directly deprives her of her emotions. In this way, we can turn her into a person without the 7 emotions and 6 desires. Moreover, it will also conveniently torture you and make you feel sad. Ling Yuner lightly groaned and said, how can this heavenly punishment curse be so evil? Xian Rujing very quickly arrived in front of Sacred Desolate's Gate. Seeing someone flying towards Sacred Desolate's Gate, the people inside and outside the Holy Gate's domain burst into an uproar, because they can see that the person who is going to blast open the gate is a peerlessly beautiful woman. Xian Rujing is wearing snow-white long skirt. Her long hair is fluttering in the wind. Her clear and cold jade-like face is filled with ice-cold expression. Her body is releasing wave after wave of cold air. 9th layer immortal emperors who are very close to Sacred Desolate's Gate can feel the dreadful ice-cold power. Qin Yun is also earnestly looking. After cultivating sacred veins, it can be said that he has successfully transformed into a sacred. If he leaves Holy Gate's domain, he will be sucked into Sacred Desolate. Since Sacred Desolate's Gate has appeared, he will try to blast it open. Qin Yun left Floating Cloud Pagoda and stored it away. He secretly sensed the energy all around him. He is not using 9 Sun Divine Spirit. He is relying on his own 9 Sun sacred veins to absorb 9 formidable sun energy. Xian Rujing arrived in front of Sacred Desolate's Gate and released formidable ice-cold power. A piercingly cold gale suddenly gushed out, and the entire Saint Gate's domain suddenly turned into a world of ice and snow. A thick layer of ice appeared on the ground, and the gale carried along with it large snowflakes. Even a 9th Heaven Immortal Emperor would feel a piercing pain when the snow blew against him. After the icy blizzard appeared for a moment, it suddenly stopped. The power of the snowstorm was suddenly condensed by Xian Rujing, transformed into a large ball, and rushed towards Sacred Desolate's Gate. Boom! The entrance of a sacred wasteland was struck by the powerful blizzard, causing a loud sound to ring out. The ground of the Saint Gate domain was covered in thick ice, and at this moment, it shattered. The thick ice had absorbed the energy from the ground, and after it shattered, all the ice fragments floated up. Under the golden light of the Sacred Desolate Gate, the ice crystals refracted a dazzling golden light. They were sparkling and translucent, giving the entire Sacred Gate domain an ice-cold and sacred feeling. All of the shattered ice crystals were waves of very strong energy. At this moment, they were all flying towards the gate of the sacred wasteland. Just now, the gate of the sacred wasteland had been opened a little. Everyone is endlessly shocked looking at this scene. They did not expect that a woman would have such formidable power. Her expression did not change at the same time she opened the sacred wasteland's gate. A large amount of ice fragments flew towards the sacred wasteland's gate and transformed into a huge ice dragon. The huge ice dragon absorbed the golden light released by the sacred wasteland's gate and became bright and dazzling. It looks very beautiful and shocking, causing people to sigh in amazement. Roar! The ice dragon let out a roar. Under Xian Rujing's control, it charged towards the sacred wasteland's gate. Boom! The sacred wasteland's gate burst with a burst of explosion again. The gate was finally opened and a gap appeared. What caused people to be shocked is that this gap is bigger than the one that other people opened before. And Xian Rujing, as a human, looks very relaxed after opening the sacred wasteland's gate. She is not like Zhang Shangxian, who almost lost half his life. Xian Rujing coldly groaned and rushed towards the gap of the sacred wasteland's gate. Just as she rushed over, the gate suddenly closed with a bang sound. Everyone inside and outside the sacred gate domain saw this, and let out a cry of alarm. Xian Rujing has not even entered the sacred wasteland's gate, and the gate has already closed. Emotionless, immortal, venerable, and immortal, desolate, sacred master recognized that woman as Xian Rujing. They also find it strange and flew towards Qin Yun. Qin Yun has already transformed into a sacred sage, but after restraining his aura, it is impossible to see that he has transformed into a sacred sage. Sect Master Qin. People have not even entered, and the gate has already closed. What exactly is going on? Emotionless, immortal, venerable asked. I don't know. Qin Yun said with frown. This gate should be controlled by Heaven Creation Divine Palace. He suspects that the mysterious and unfathomable heavenly rules have taken over the sacred wasteland's gate, or that Heaven Creation Divine Palace has suddenly lost control. Xian Rujing is very angry. She once again attacked the gate with all her might. This time she used even stronger power, but the sacred wasteland's gate did not budge at all. Everyone is very suspicious about this. They can see that Xian Rujing is very strong. She also opened the sacred wasteland's gate, but the gate suddenly closed. I will go take a look. Qin Yun flew towards Xian Rujing. He suspects that this is related to Xian Rujing being cursed by heavenly punishment. Xian Rujing is so angry that her expression turned gloomy and cold. Dreadful anger rushed out of her body. Sister Rujing, you step back. I will open the gate. Qin Yun said. Can you? Xian Rujing looked at Qin Yun. Her ice-cold voice is filled with disdain as she asked again, what is going on here? Because of heavenly punishment curse. Not only does heavenly punishment curse deprive you of your emotions, it also prevents you from becoming stronger. Qin Yun said. Xian Rujing looked at the huge, sacred gate and said with cold groan, is it not enough for heavenly punishment curse to deprive me of my emotions? Definitely not enough. I told you before not to act recklessly. Qin Yun sighed and said, it has already been done. What's the point of saying it now? Xian Rujing said in cold voice, Qin Yun, I will not go through this gate. I will fly out of Sacred Gate's domain and enter Sacred Desolate. She very quickly flew out of Sacred Gate's domain, but after flying out, she was not sucked in by Sacred Desolate. This caused her to be startled and angry. She can only fly back to Sacred Desolate's gate. Qin Yun, what is going on? Xian Rujing cursed in low voice. Why can't I enter Sacred Desolate? Qin Yun is not surprised at all. He said indifferently, I already said, heavenly punishment curse will prevent you from maturing. If you are restricted from entering Sacred Desolate, you will not be able to mature. Xian Rujing said, then can you truly open Sacred Desolate's gate? I can open it and let you enter. Qin Yun very confidently said, can two people enter together? Xian Rujing said with frown, I can, but I don't know what will happen after we enter. Qin Yun sighed and said, back when he came to Immortal Desolate, it was very difficult for him to fly out. Xian Rujing said in cold voice, you can open it. We will talk about what will happen after we enter. Qin Yun's expression suddenly became grave. He said in deep voice, you step back. You don't need my help? Xian Rujing asked. Two people cannot blast open Sacred Gate together. You step back a bit. After I open it, I will do my best to block the Sacred Gate. Qin Yun said, when the time comes, you will enter with me. Xian Rujing immediately flew away from the Sacred Gate and maintained some distance from it. Many people were able to clearly see Qin Yun through the telescopic tools. They all recognized him. They are all extremely shocked because they thought that Qin Yun had already entered Sacred Desolate. They did not expect that Qin Yun would still be in Immortal Desolate. Moreover, he is preparing to open Sacred Desolate's gate. Qin Yun looked at the huge Sacred Desolate gate ahead and said in cold voice, no matter what kind of power it is, it will not be able to stop me from entering. While speaking, he and Ling Yuner released formidable supergravity and rushed towards the sacred gate ahead. Invisible supergravity gathered together and battered against the Saint Gate. This kind of supergravity can be said to have no imposing manner at all, so people who are far away cannot sense it at all. Even Xian Rujing, an Immortal Desolate's sacred master, did not sense it. However, the huge sacred gate is slowly being pushed open. After becoming sacred, Qin Yun has recovered his memories. Although his 9 souls and 9 spirits are still weak, they can still unleash the formidable power of Nether Sunday. The sacred gate is slowly being pushed open. Qin Yun is just floating in front of it. It looks like he is not doing anything. What caused people to be alarmed is that the sacred gate is very wide open. Golden light burst out from inside and is very intense. At this time, the sacred gate burst with a burst of intense trembling. It looks like it is about to close. Just as the sacred gate is about to close, Qin Yun released the floating cloud rod and made it longer and thicker to block the sacred gate. Boom! After the sacred gate was blocked, it burst with violent trembling. The floating cloud rod is transformed from 9-sun heaven-raising pagoda. Qin Yun is very clear about its might. Quickly go in. Qin Yun yelled at Xian Rujing. Xian Rujing flew over in a flash, and together with Qin Yun entered the gate. Seeing this scene, everyone is dumbstruck. They did not expect that there would be such a thing. 2 people can enter Sacred Desolate Gate at the same time. The Sacred Desolate Gate is fiercely trembling. It looks like it is very angry because someone is using unconventional method. Qin Yun and Xian Rujing flew into the Sacred Gate in a short while. After entering, Qin Yun controlled the floating cloud rod to shrink and flew back to his hand. At this moment, they were also in a space that was filled with violent golden energy. Audacious madman, you dare break the rules and trespass into the Sacred Gate. Suddenly a furious roar echoed. I opened the Sacred Gate, but it suddenly closed. It is your fault. If you have the guts, come out, and I will chop you into pieces. Xian Rujing shouted in cold voice. Qin Yun firmly held the floating cloud rod and sun-suppressing divine arrow and said in low voice, Sister Rujing, we will fly forward and prepare for battle. On the way, absorb as much energy as possible. Xian Rujing took out the sun-suppressing divine arrow. It can be said that this is the best weapon on her body. You helped me enter Sacred Desolate. I owe you. I will repay you later. Xian Rujing flew beside Qin Yun and said in ice-cold voice. Chapter 2003. The sun-suppressing divine arrow in Xian Rujing's hand is filled with cold air. This kind of gloomy coldness caused Qin Yun's heart to tremble. After entering the Holy Gate, Qin Yun and the others arrived at a space filled with all kind of tyrannical energy. This kind of energy contains the aura of divine cosmos power, but is not completely divine cosmos power. It also contains a kind of gentle saint power. After absorbing it, it can allow people to better adapt to using saint power. Qin Yun is now frantically absorbing this kind of energy because it is very easy to absorb and refine. Moreover, it is very useful for his current stage. Although he has many divine cosmos golden ores, after being transformed by 9 dragon heavenly origin formation, he can easily absorb them. However, compared to the energy in this space, divine cosmos power is not very suitable for Qin Yun, who has just become saint. Sneaky bastard, quickly come out. Xian Rujing coldly shouted. If you want to kill me, don't hide. She used to be ice and snow goddess. After entering this space, she realized that the energy here is very suitable for her. While absorbing, she is also paying attention to her surroundings. After Qin Yun successfully entered the Holy Gate, he saw that he can still absorb the energy here and is not worried at all. He feels that even if he is trapped here for a long time, it will not be a bad thing. Through absorbing the energy here, he can become stronger even faster. The person who spoke has not come out yet. He is still hiding. Xian Rujing's ice-cold eyes are fixated ahead. She walked forward step by step and said in low voice, Qin Yun, how can we leave this place? Quickly tell me. I also don't know. We just need to keep moving forward. Qin Yun said, pay attention, absorb the energy here as much as possible. I know. Xian Rujing, who is walking in front, suddenly sensed a power rushing over from behind. It is the power attacking Qin Yun. Xian Rujing suddenly arrived behind Qin Yun in a flash. She vigorously stabbed the sun-suppressing divine arrow filled with 9 yin frost chi. The sun-suppressing divine arrow in her hand is like a white jade ice spear. After it was vigorously stabbed, the energy attacking Qin Yun condensed into a round ice ball. Qin Yun turned around and saw that there are many golden needles inside the ice ball. He realized that it is a very dreadful hidden weapon. "Many thanks," Qin Yun said. "You are welcome. I will not let you die here," Xian Rujing said in cold voice. "No matter what, we are acquaintances." Qin Yun feels that this is very funny because in Xian Rujing's eyes, he is still that weak and small Qin Yun. Xian Rujing knows that Qin Yun is not weak. She is just saying these words to repay the favor. Qin Yun looked all around and yelled, "Who are you? Why are you hiding like a mouse? The two of you who broke the heavenly rules and barged into the sacred gate are the rats." That voice finally spoke and said angrily, "I'm the guardian of the sacred gate. I don't want to make a move because lowly rats like you are not worthy of me making a move personally. Sacred Gate was built by the Heaven Creation Divine Palace. What does it have to do with heavenly rules?" I never thought that a guy like you would actually know about the heaven-creating God Palace." The Gate God sneered. "The Holy Gate is controlled by the heaven-creating God Palace. That is something that happened many years ago. Right now, Sacred Gate has already merged with heavenly rules and is under the control of heavenly rules. It operates according to the heavenly rules. That is to say, ancient desolate heaven creation divine palace has integrated heavenly rules into Nine Sun heavenly domain. Qin Yun suddenly understands why Nine Sun heavenly domain can undergo nirvana so many times. It is very likely that heaven creation divine palace cannot protect Nine Sunday. Less bullshit. Quickly come out and let me kill you." Xian Rujing's ice-cold voice is filled with killing intent and reverberated through the entire space. "Less nonsense. Quickly scram out and let me kill you." Xian Rujing's ice-cold voice is filled with killing intent and reverberated through this space. After entering Holy Desolate's Gate, he can absorb the energy here and consolidate his saint realm. It will be very helpful to his future advancement. By entering the sacred Desolate Gate and absorbing the energy inside, one would be able to consolidate the realm of a saint. It would be of great help to one's future advancement. After entering Holy Desolate's Gate and absorbing the energy here, he can consolidate his saint realm. It will be very helpful to his future advancement. For example, his sacred spirit, sacred body, and sacred veins have not reached perfect fusion state. After entering Holy Desolate's Gate, absorbing this kind of strange energy will allow saints to pass through initial stage even faster. Gate God's voice can no longer be heard. Xian Rujing coldly groaned. "You cowardly mouse bastard. You can only hide and say some scary words." Roar. A beast's roar suddenly echoed. A fierce golden tiger scuttled out of the dense golden fog and pounced toward Qin Yun. "Die!" Xian Rujing coldly shouted. Her body is as fast as lightning. It is as if she is fused with the sun-suppressing divine arrow in her hand. As she flew out, the arrow pierced through the body of the fierce golden tiger. After the fierce tiger was pierced, its body immediately turned into ice cubes. Xian Rujing waved her lily-white hand. The fierce tiger and the ice cubes suddenly turned into ice crystals and flew into her body. This is equivalent to her swallowing the fierce tiger. Qin Yun is secretly alarmed. He knows that Xian Rujing is ice and snow goddess, but he has never seen this kind of swallowing technique. "Qin Yun, you don't need to take action here," Xian Rujing said. "If necessary, I will still take action." Qin Yun laughed and said, "Sister Rujing, you are much stronger than I imagined. You have always been looking down on me." Xian Rujing said in cold voice, "Qin Yun, don't think that just because you are the king of gods, I am inferior to you." Even though Xian Rujing has been deprived of her emotions, her innate arrogance is still present in her heart. Seeing this cold and arrogant Xian Rujing, Qin Yun is somewhat happy in his heart. At least this is the Xian Rujing he is familiar with. Qin Yun is also imagining in his heart what would happen if he was deprived of his emotions. He thought about how he would no longer miss Xiao Yuelon and others, how he would be very cold to them, and how he would be very afraid in his heart. He can only rejoice that the heavenly punishment that fell on his body was not so cruel. After entering Sacred Desolate's gate, the space inside is very big. All around is dense golden fog. Nothing can be seen. Qin Yun and Xian Rujing can only keep moving forward. Even though the door god said many ruthless words, he never appeared. He only released some things from time to time. Qin Yun is also very puzzled. Why did the door god keep attacking him and not Xian Rujing? Qin Yun, don't think that I am protecting you because I still have feelings for you. Don't think too highly of yourself. Xian Rujing suddenly said because she saw that Qin Yun has been smiling all along the way. I have never felt that way. I understand heavenly Tao very well. Your emotions have been thoroughly deprived. Qin Yun spread out his hands and said, I think you must still be thinking that way. Xian Rujing coldly groaned and said, all right, in my heart, there is still a trace of fantasy. Qin Yun sighed and said, Sister Rujing, no matter what, I will never give up on you. Wishful thinking. Xian Rujing said in cold voice, I have no emotions. It is not heavenly punishment. It is a gift from heaven. The current me is much stronger than before. Qin Yun is startled and said, is this truly what you are pursuing? Xian Rujing said, indeed. When I inherited the god position, I was warned by the inheritance that I cannot have too many emotions, especially the emotions between men and women. Otherwise, my growth will be restricted. I cannot have lovers. It will cause me to lose the core inheritance of Ice Goddess. I was plagued by all kinds of emotions before. Now, I have no emotions. I don't know how relaxed I am. Men God suddenly laughed loudly and said, well said. If you want to become a formidable god, you should not be plagued by annoying emotions. You know, fart. Xian Rujing said in cold voice. Woman, so what if you were Ice Goddess? I am now men god. You are in my territory, and you still dare to be so arrogant. I will let you know the consequences. Men god furiously shouted. I am Ice Goddess. You are just a trifling men god, yet you dare to be impudent in front of me. If you dare come out, I will directly exterminate you. Xian Rujing's aura soared to the sky as she shouted in cold voice. Right now, she really did look like a snow goddess. Qin Yun suddenly feels that the current Xian Rujing is indeed very good. Wretched woman, just wait for me. I will let you know how awesome I am. Men God furiously said. Xian Rujing no longer paid attention to Men God. Men God has not come out for such a long time. It is clear that he does not dare to come out. Qin Yun is still silently absorbing the energy here. He said in low voice, Sister Rujing, you have cultivated 9 sacred veins. Do you know how to use them? I don't know. I don't need you to tell me. Xian Rujing glanced at Qin Yun. Don't help me. I will figure out myself. All right. Figure it out yourself. If you encounter problems, solve them yourself. It will also help you grow. Qin Yun said. Qin Yun knows a lot about 9 sacred veins. They are very formidable. Xian Rujing is also absorbing energy here. Her absorption speed is not slower than Qin Yun's. They have been walking around here for several days. They still haven't come out. Men God, I want to ask you, were you a disciple of Heaven Creation Divine Palace or Heavenly Law Divine Domain? Qin Yun asked, why are you asking this? Men God said, you should know a lot about Divine Desolate, right? Qin Yun asked, of course. Men God said, I am Men God. I am in charge of many desolate domains, gates, in Divine Desolate. Just a gatekeeper. Xian Rujing coldly groaned and said. Qin Yun said with smile, Men God, I was once the king of gods. Men God said, I know, but now you are not. Whether or not you can go to Sacred Desolate is unknown, let alone Divine Desolate in the future. Therefore, in the eyes of this Men God, you are not even a fart. Then what about me? Xian Rujing asked in cold voice. You. You have obtained the grace of heavenly law. Your emotions have been stripped away. You have returned to the right track. One day, you will surely become a strong god of divine desolate. So I can't say for sure. Min God chuckled and said, but that king of gods, he is not even a fart. Xian Rujing looked at Qin Yun and saw his indifferent expression. She said with frown, what did this guy say about you? Are you not angry? Chapter 2004. Qin Yun is holding two very small pearls in his hand. He walked forward and said with smile, what's the use of being angry? The angrier you are, the happier that guy is. Xian Rujing groaned and said again, even if you can't do anything to that guy, you shouldn't be so careless. That bastard is insulting you. Are you just going to endure it? Qin Yun looked at the two pearls in his hand. They're Divine Universe Devil Dragon and Divine Universe Evil Dragon's Dragon Pearls. He is letting them absorb the energy here. Insult? He is not qualified to insult me. Qin Yun said with calm expression, nobody can insult me now. That guy is just a cowardly dog. He doesn't dare to come out and bite people. He only barks randomly. How can I be angered by this kind of dog thing? Min Shun immediately became furious. Bastard, you bullshit, God King. You have been dead for so many years. Why are you still putting on airs? Do you really think you can become the God King again? Pooh! Divine Desolate already has a new God King. Really? This is very good. It means that you dog thing have a new master. Qin Yun said with smile. Xian Rujing is somewhat shocked and asked, Divine Desolate truly has a new God King? You dare to call yourself God King without Divine King Heavenly Seal? Divine King Heavenly Seal is just a broken thing. As long as Heavenly Law Divine Domain approves of it, as long as one has enough strength, who wouldn't recognize it? Min Shun said with sneer, Divine Desolate's new God King is the legendary Love God. Love God. Qin Yun's brows creased. A burst of anger suddenly rushed up his heart, but immediately dissipated. Love God once betrayed Qin Yun and caused him, a God King, to fall. So when he heard this name, his hatred suddenly rushed up. This King of Divine Desolate is an incomparably divine existence. She wants to save the entire Divine Desolate. And you bullshit thing offended Heavenly Law, causing Divine Desolate to be punished. Min Shun furiously said. Qin Yun's expression became somewhat gloomy. Min Shun continued, and Love God has very good relationship with Heavenly Law Divine Domain. She is even a core elder of Heavenly Law Divine Domain. Now, under her rule, Divine Desolate has become very orderly. She is the true God King. Xian Rujing also did not say anything because Divine Desolate has become very chaotic. Qin Yun suppressed the anger in his heart and continued absorbing the energy here. The reason why the Divine Wasteland had become like that back then had something to do with him. In his heart, he admitted that it was his fault, because he had misplaced his faith in love. He once had incomparable trust in the God of Love, which led him to walk step by step into the trap set up by the God of Love, causing him to be destroyed by the natural law divine realm. At that time, it also implicated Moon God and Slaughter God, who are now Xia Qiru and Liyue Shuyan. Qin Yun was not surprised that the Love Goddess was in charge of the entire divine wilderness, because this was something that the natural law divine realm had planned for a long time. The Divine Wasteland was the most important great wasteland in the Nine-Yang heavenly realm, and the natural law divine realm had always wanted to control it. And now was the best opportunity. Love God, I will make you pay a terrible price. Qin Yun swore in his heart. I will let you know the consequences of betraying me. The moment Qin Yun closed his eyes, the scene of the Moon God being killed by the Love God appeared in his mind. Back then, Xia Qiru and Liyue Shuyan had died in front of him. Furthermore, it was the Love God who had deliberately killed his two beloved women in front of him. He took a deep breath and opened his eyes. I want to become stronger as soon as possible and go to Divine Desolate. Qin Yun's eyes are resolute. They are filled with faint heavenly might. Heavenly law divine realm. I will let you know that I am not only the ruler of the nine-sun heavenly domain, I am also the heavens that you all fear. Xian Rujing can also sense Qin Yun's dreadful might. Seeing that Qin Yun is not speaking, Min Shun said with sneer, God King, I heard that you were once the Nine-Sun Palace King during the era of Nine-Sun royal family, right? Qin Yun no longer paid attention to Min Shun because he clearly wants to infuriate him. Nine-Sun Palace King, once established Nine-Sun Divine Palace. But Nine-Sun Divine Palace has already been driven out of the Nine-Sun heavenly domain many years ago. Min Shun said with smile, what bullshit Nine-Sun Divine Palace is just a nest of snakes and rats. This kind of third-rate trash wants to shake the sacred heavenly law divine realm. Although Qin Yun established Nine-Sun Divine Palace and had great influence after he died as the Palace King, he did not know anything about Nine-Sun Divine Palace. Divine Desolate's Nine-Sun Divine Palace left. It is clear that they were forced to leave by the heavenly law divine realm. Xian Rujing coldly shouted, You dog, quickly shut up. Heavenly law divine realm has such formidable strength, yet they let divine desolate fall into chaos. Isn't it to starve you, dog, for a period of time, so that they can easily subdue you? Love God is also worthy of being divine, King. She is the love God of divine desolate, but she left divine desolate early. She did not contribute a bit to divine desolate. After divine desolate's era, only her fake legend has been passed down. There is no sign of her. A trash that occupies a latrine pit, but doesn't shit. It is at this time that heavenly law divine realm push him out to swindle you dog things. Xian Rujing's words thoroughly infuriated Min Shun. Ice and snow goddess, you can curse me, but since you insulted the sacred love god, don't blame me for being impolite. At the same time Min Shun's furious voice arrived, a burst of golden light appeared in front of them. Min Shun has appeared. This is a tall and mighty middle-aged man. He is more than 3 meters tall. The muscles on his body are very scary. He is only wearing golden armor pants. His upper body is bare. Those malevolent-looking muscles look like hard armor. One look, and one can tell that this guy has very strong defense. You dog thing, you finally came out. You just came out to die. Xian Rujing said with sneer. You just came out to die. Slut, you insulted the sacred love god. I will capture you and humiliate you. Min Shun is carrying a huge axe. He rushed towards Xian Rujing and shouted with malevolent expression. Xian Rujing saw Min Shun appear and attack. There is no need to mention how happy she is. The sun-suppressing divine arrow in her hand seems to be trembling in excitement. Xiao! The sun-suppressing divine arrow flew out, bringing along gloomy and cold energy. Although Min Shun has appeared, he is not in his strongest state. He is indeed Min Shun, but he does not have the power of a god, because in this space, one's cultivation would be suppressed. Min Shun loudly shouted and rushed towards Xian Rujing. Seeing the sun-suppressing divine arrow piercing towards him, he nimbly brandished the huge axe in his hand and hacked towards Xian Rujing. Just as the huge axe hacked down, it hit the sun-suppressing divine arrow and released a very strong energy. After the energy sent the sun-suppressing divine arrow flying, it whizzed towards Xian Rujing and enveloped her in a short while. A protective barrier formed from cold ice appeared on Xian Rujing's body, blocking the dreadful energy. However, Min Shun's strength is very dreadful. When the second axe chopped down, it already arrived in front of Xian Rujing. Don't look at his big body. He is very nimble. Boom! Min Shun's axe chopped down on the thick layer of ice. The protective barrier protecting Xian Rujing suddenly turned into thick ice. Xian Rujing is also not to be trifled with. She blocked the axe head-on. At the same time the protective barrier was destroyed, she released intense cold ice power and covered Min Shun's body. Min Shun's body immediately became covered by a layer of thick ice. At the same time, the sun-suppressing divine arrow that was sent flying suddenly flew back. Min Shun is after all Min Shun. He sensed danger approaching and bellowed. His body expanded by one size. His suddenly expanded body shattered the thick ice covering him and then dodged the sun-suppressing divine arrow. Hoochie! The sun-suppressing divine arrow did not pierce Min Shen's body. It only brushed past his body. Xian Rujing gritted her teeth, groaned, and yelled at Qin Yun, "Don't attack. I can do it myself." Qin Yun originally wanted to attack, but since Xian Rujing said so, he continued to watch from the side. "I have never seen a woman as savage as you. You are far inferior to Love God." "I have seen Love God. He is very gentle." Min Shun loudly cursed. This thoroughly infuriated Xian Rujing. Although Xian Rujing has been deprived of her emotions, she still cares about people comparing her with other women. It must be known that Xian Rujing hates Love God very much. Although she has never seen Love God, she grew up in Divine Desolate. She has heard many legends about Love God. Those legends boast about Love God to the heavens, how great Love God is, how important he is to Divine Desolate. Therefore, this caused Xian Rujing to feel disgusted. And now Min Shun is actually comparing her with Love God and saying that she is far inferior to Love God. Xian Rujing is furious. She immediately summoned two spirits. Ice spirits and snow spirits appeared, and the surrounding became incomparably cold. Min Shun looked at the two women who were fluttering their spirit wings and said in shock, "These are spirits. You cultivated spirits? This is an ancient secret technique." This secret technique came from Nine Sun Divine Maiden. Xian Rujing obtained this inheritance because she has good relationship with Qin Yun. Therefore, she feels that she owes Qin Yun. Go to hell. Xian Rujing and the two incomparably cold and elegant, beautiful spirits condensed formidable ice thorns at the same time. A great number of ice thorns pierced towards Min Shun from all direction. Min Shun furiously shouted. He firmly held his huge axe with both hands and rotated on the spot. He released a protective barrier and blocked all the ice thorns piercing towards him. Right at this moment, a white ice mountain suddenly appeared in the sky above the door god. The ice mountain suddenly dropped down. Boom! The ice mountain is incomparably gloomy and cold. At the same time it dropped down, it released a burst of ice-cold astral wind. Min Shun is being pressed down by the ice mountain. He continuously struggled and roared. "Slut, don't even think of killing me." Min Shun's body burst out a very formidable power for some unknown reason and shattered the ice mountain. Min Shun's body is now enveloped by a burst of faint yellow light, overflowing with formidable divine power. His injuries are also healing very quickly. Do you see this? This is Love God's power. She gave me divine talisman to protect me at the crucial moment. Min Shun is incomparably excited. He laughed loudly and said, "You arrogant slut, I will borrow Love God's power to kill you." Min Shun's power is even stronger than before. He is holding his battle axe. His tall and sturdy body is as fast as lightning. He rushed towards Xian Rujing with swift and fierce aura. At the same time he rushed over, Min Shun's axe swept horizontally. In a blink of an eye, he released a burst of berserk energy blades. The two spirits have no choice but to defend. This way they cannot join hands to attack. Chapter 2005. Many white totem runes appeared on Xian Rujing's beautiful jade-like face. This is her god position totem. Qin Yun also recognizes Ice Goddess totem. Bastard, what kind of power did you use? Xian Rujing is in endless pain. She can no longer fight. Even her ice fairies are screaming in pain. Ha ha ha. Now do you know how awesome I am? Min Shun proudly laughed, his huge axe chopped towards Xian Rujing. Qin Yun suddenly rushed over and stabbed with sun-suppressing divine arrow. His black sun-suppressing divine arrow devoured all the energy in this space and brought along a violent tide of energy. It is like a huge wave overflowing the heaven. It instantly attacked Min Shun's body. As soon as Min Shun's axe fell, his body was suddenly sent flying. His entire body flew very far away. Xian Rujing hugged her head and screamed in pain. Qin Yin took out his divine king heavenly seal and placed it on Xian Rujing's forehead. Xian Rujing's god position totem seems like it wants to struggle out of her body. It wants to separate from her soul and body. This is equivalent to tearing apart her soul. It is equivalent to pulling out the tendons in her body. It is incomparably painful. But after Qin Yin placed his divine king heavenly seal on Xian Rujing's forehead, she gradually stabilized, and those totem runes that wanted to escape were all suppressed back. Qin Yun's expression is ice cold. He muttered in low voice, "How many years has it been?" Love God's method is still the same. Has she been using this method to collect God position totem? After Xian Rujing's pain disappeared, there is still that power inside her body. She has no choice but to use her power to suppress it. Is this love God's doing? Xian Rujing hates love God even more. Indeed, Qin Yun nodded and said, "That is her divine talisman. If your God position totem comes out, it will enter her divine talisman." Xian Rujing cursed in low voice, "I want to kill her." If not for love God's divine talisman, Xian Rujing would have already killed Menshun. "It is even better that you are together. I will capture you both at the same time." Menshun suddenly flew over. His body is still filled with love God's divine talisman's power. He raised his battle axe with both hands, condensed the formidable power of the divine talisman, and hacked toward Qin Yin. When the axe arrived, Menshun's divine talisman again shot out lightning towards Xian Rujing. It is this kind of power that made Xian Rujing's God position totem come out. Qin Yin snorted coldly as his eyes flashed with a purplish-red glow. He sent the bolt of lightning flying. At the same time, he waved his hand to release the godly king heavenly seal. The divine king heavenly seal suddenly became very big. The divine king heavenly seal is formed by a golden square seal body and Qin Yun statue. Now that it had grown bigger, the might it produced, along with supergravity, instantly pressed Menshun to the ground. Boom! The godly king heavenly seal descended and pressed down on Menshun's body. The door god screamed in pain. Xian Rujing said with frown, "Is divine king heavenly seal complete?" The door god was pressed down by the god king heaven seal as though he was being tortured. He cried out tragically, "A godly monarch heavenly seal is a godly monarch heavenly seal after all. Don't all of you know how deity positions come about?" said Qin Yun with a sneer. As one of the founders of the Nine-Yang Heavenly Region, he had built the Nine-Yang Divine Hall and the Heaven Creation Divine Palace. He, in the Heaven Creation Divine Palace, had once controlled the Nine-Yang Heavenly Region and created the deity throne laws together. Ah! The door god screamed miserably. Impossible. The godly monarch heavenly seal has been completely destroyed. Love God told you? Qin Yun said with sneer. How can the godly monarch heavenly seal be destroyed? You don't understand anything about the godly monarch heavenly seal. The door god is in endless pain after being pressed down by the godly monarch heavenly seal. It can be seen that the godly monarch heavenly seal has a great deterrent effect on these gods. Even Xian Rujing is now secretly afraid of the godly monarch heavenly seal. The statue on the godly monarch heavenly seal is exactly the same as Qin Yin. Moreover, a very strong power is surging out of it. This power seems to be the power of 9 suns. I was wrong. The door god screamed in pain. How can we leave this place? Qin Yin asked. He withdrew the godly monarch heavenly seal's power. The door god did not continue screaming, but he is still being pressed down by the godly monarch heavenly seal. If I tell you, will you kill me? The door god's voice became filled with fear. That will depend on your performance. Qin Yun's indifferent voice is filled with godly monarch's might, causing the door god to tremble in fear. The door god promptly said, "If you stay here for 9 days and 9 nights, you will be sent to sacred desolate. But you are trespassers after 9 days and 9 nights. You will be sent to chaotic space-time. Sir Divine King, please don't kill me. I know I was wrong. Please spare my dog life." The door god knelt on the ground, looked at Xian Rujing, and yelled again, Your Excellency Ice and Snow Goddess, what you said is very correct. I'm only a dog, sirs, please spare me. The door god is very afraid of death. He is even more afraid of being tortured to death before dying. Qin Yun took out 2 talisman papers, wrote on them with Godly Monarch Heavenly Seal, then gave one to the door god and said, "You find a way to give this talisman to Space God. This sir's whereabouts are erratic. I cannot find him." The door god's hand is somewhat trembling as he took the talisman. "You can find him with this talisman. Do as I say," Qin Yun said in stern voice. "Yes, yes, yes." The door god promptly nodded and complied. Qin Yun used Godly Monarch Heavenly Seal to print on the door god's head and said, "If you don't earnestly do what I told you, you will know the consequences. I will surely do it well. I will surely do it well." The door god knelt on the ground and said with trembling voice. The door god glanced at Xian Rujing and saw her bone-piercing ice-cold gaze. He immediately shivered. "I ask you, when did Love God become Divine King?" Xian Rujing asked. "1 month ago. Everyone in Sacred Desolate and Divine Desolate knows about it. Moreover, Love God's spirit appeared in Sacred Desolate and was worshipped by many experts of Sacred Desolate. Sacred Desolate also descended many divine king palaces with Love God statues and altars to receive death sacrifices." The door god immediately replied, "This Love God is truly a slut. He easily obtained the power of so many sacrifices." Xian Rujing cursed in low voice. The door god said again, "At that time, the show of extravagance was very big. Heavenly Law Divine Domain was in charge of inviting all the gods of Divine Desolate to participate. Many sects and powerful races of Divine Desolate came and announced to the entire Divine Desolate that Love God has become the new Divine King. She dares to proclaim herself as Divine King without Heavenly Seal." Xian Rujing said with sneer. "She said that Divine King Heavenly Seal is completely destroyed. No one in Divine Desolate can obtain the inheritance of a Divine King, and Divine Desolate needs a Divine King. So, she bravely stood up." "Hypocrite," Xian Rujing groaned. The door god said again. "She also said that she has already convinced the Heavenly Law Divine Domain to pass down all kinds of divine arts and heavenly laws to benefit Divine Desolate." Xian Rujing asked, "Has the Heavenly Law Divine Domain been passed down?" "It is passed down, but they must sign a soul contract with them, forever loyal to the Heavenly Law Divine Domain. Never rebel against it." The door god said in low voice, "What about you? Did you obtain the inheritance of the Heavenly Law Divine Domain?" Qin Yun asked. I'm not qualified." The door god said, "In their eyes, I am just a dog. I only got a few divine talismans." "Then how did you get this job?" Qin Yun looked all around. "Holy Gate has not appeared for many years. Now it has finally appeared again. Heaven Creation Divine Palace has already seized Holy Gate under the control of Heavenly Law, but Heavenly Law Divine Domain has a way to arrange for people to enter." Men Shin quickly replied. "They put me in charge of introducing the people who pass through the Sacred Desolate Gate to the Divine King Palace. Qin Yun also understands that this way Divine King Palace can gather a group of outstanding saints who pass through Holy Desolate's Gate." "Then did you succeed?" Qin Yun asked. "There is a person who passed through Holy Gate along with a few inscription beasts. They all said that they would go to Divine King Palace." The door god respectfully replied. "The only human who passed through Holy Gate before was Zhang Shengxian. Qin Yun is worried that Zhang Shengxian will be taken in by Divine King Palace and will most likely be sent to collect offerings. You go and do my job. Also, if someone passes through Holy Desolate's Gate again, don't interfere with their decision to enter Holy Desolate, or you will suffer heavenly punishment." "I am not trying to scare you," Qin Yun said. "Sir Divine King, is this true?" The door god immediately trembled and said in fear, "Otherwise, why would they find you to do this kind of thing? Do you really think they think highly of you?" Qin Yun said with sneer. The door god immediately became furious and cursed in low voice. "These bastards! Xian Rujing is currently healing, but she is still coldly looking at the door god, causing him to feel very scared. Let's go, Qin Yun said. Yes, I will immediately find a reason to return to Divine Desolate. Properly handle Sir Divine King's matter. The door god picked up the huge axe and suddenly disappeared. Xian Rujing looked at Qin Yun. Her voice is still ice-cold as she said, I remember you said that your Divine King Heavenly Seal is not complete. Moreover, you don't have God Position Totem. How can it still be so powerful? Because my 8 spiritual souls and 9 spirits are part of the Divine King Heavenly Seal. Now it is complete. Qin Yun laughed and said, You might not know, but this Divine King Heavenly Seal was refined by me. I also participated in your Ice Goddess Totem and God Position Totem. Xian Rujing coldly groaned. She cannot help but recall how she passed down the God Position Totem to Qin Yun. I can see that you very much want to kill that door god, but you still did not attack. You are very restrained, Qin Yun said with a smile. He was captured by you. What you want to do to him is none of my business. Xian Rujing bit her lips and said, I owe you another favor. Your emotions have already been stripped away. Why do you still care about owing favors? Qin Yun shook his head and smiled. None of your business, Xian Rujing said. Qin Yun looked all around and said, Very soon, 9 days and 9 nights will arrive, and we will be thrown into chaotic space-time. You have a way to escape, right? Xian Rujing said. Relax, I have a way to help you escape. I will be trapped for a period of time. Qin Yun faintly smiled. I am already accustomed to this kind of thing. Xian Rujing clenched her teeth and did not speak again. She doesn't want to owe Qin Yun favors, but now she has no other choice. She owes Qin Yun favors again and again. I know you don't want to have any entanglement with me. You want to completely sever all ties with me. Because you don't have lust, you loathe people who have feelings for you. Qin Yun seems to have already seen through Xian Rujing's thoughts. Chapter 2006. Xian Rujing remained silent. She coldly looked at Qin Yun. It is as if she can see all kinds of sufferings Qin Yun has gone through from his bright and firm eyes. She doesn't know what kind of sufferings Qin Yun has gone through, but from Qin Yun's tranquil tone, she can sense a kind of deep coldness. Look, it seems like Qin Yun is completely accustomed to all kinds of sufferings. That's why he is so calm when recalling all those sufferings. Xian Rujing sank into contemplation. She is thinking how much suffering a person has to go through to become accustomed to all kinds of sufferings. She carefully thought about it and can't help but feel fear and trepidation. Qin Yun is a person who is numb to all kinds of sufferings and sufferings. What will happen if we enter chaotic space-time? If it is only immortal space's chaotic space-time, we can still endure. But if it is sacred space's chaotic space-time, it will be very difficult to endure. Qin Yun said, How difficult to endure? Xian Rujing deeply inhaled. She is already prepared. I don't know, but you can rest assured, I have experience in dealing with it. We will take this opportunity to absorb the energy here and store in our body. Wait until we reach Sacred Desolate and refine it. Xian Rujing slightly nodded and said, Then let's cultivate together. Yun is somewhat startled. He said with a smile, Cultivating Sun and Moonheart's Sutra requires you to trust me a lot. Do you trust me as much as before? I don't know. Do you want to give it a try? Xian Rujing said. Let's do it. Qin Yun laughed. Follow. After that, they put their palms together and looked at each other's eyes. I'll begin, Xian Rujing said in an indifferent tone. Qin Yun nodded. Xian Rujing began operating Sun and Moonheart Sutra, and both of them entered into a cultivation state. Thinking in order to absorb the energy here faster, fuse cultivation was indeed the fastest way. Qin Yun has 9 Sun sacred veins, and Xian Rujing has 9 Yin sacred veins. Now Yin and Yang are fusing together. Their energy absorption speed is even faster and fiercer. For the golden energy around them converged into 2 streams and rushed towards Qin Yun and Xian Rujing's back. Although Xian Rujing's expression is ice-cold, her beautiful eyes are flickering with happiness. She can feel the benefits of cultivating together with Qin Yin. It seems like you trust me a lot. Qin Yin said, that is because you never let me down. Xian Rujing groaned. I have no choice but to say, you are indeed a man worthy of being relied on. Qin Yin laughed and said, Sister Rujing, my 9 sun sacred veins and your 9 yin sacred veins are very harmonious now. It seems like this kind of cultivation method can allow both of us to quickly improve. We should first store energy in our body and not cultivate for the time being, Xian Rujing said. I cannot cultivate in peace under this kind of situation. Yes, Qin Yin said. The 9 yin saint vein is really not bad, Xian Rujing said. If I had cultivated it earlier, we would have obtained this kind of formidable, sacred vein earlier. If it was earlier, we might not be together now. Qin Yin sighed and said, Xian Rujing did not speak. If she and Qin Yin had cultivated sacred veins earlier, then the two of them might have already become strangers. You have already cultivated the dual spiritual 9 yang Saint Meridian. If you and Yuelon cultivate Sun and Moonheart Sutra 3rd level together, you should be able to cultivate 9 yang Saint Meridian. Xian Rujing said, It is indeed possible, Qin Yin said with smile, but it is also possible that some other mishaps will occur. Logically speaking, I should have cultivated 9 yang Saint Meridian. Why is it 9 yin Saint Meridian? Xian Rujing is very doubtful and asked. This might be related to your temperament. You are ice and snow goddess. 9 yin Saint Meridian should be more suitable for you. I don't think so, Xian Rujing said. I originally have 8 Sun Saint Meridian. Your meridian is very special. It allowed me to cultivate 9 yin Saint Meridian. Qin Yin said, Why do you say so? Xian Rujing coldly groaned and said, It is very difficult for my 8 Sun Saint Meridian to evolve into 9 Sun Saint Meridian. When I cultivated Sun and Moonheart Sutra 3rd level with you, you were in a half-conscious state. I can clearly feel that it is your special meridian that allowed me to cultivate 9 yin Saint Meridian. It is very strange. During the few days we were together, why was I in a half-conscious state? Qin Yin is also very doubtful. How did you feel at that time? Xian Rujing is very curious. At that time, it was very comfortable, very enjoyable. I don't feel anything about my Saint Meridian evolution. Only you gave me a very deep feeling. Qin Yin said very earnestly with frown. Xian Rujing coldly groaned. Your brain is full of this kind of thing. The evolution of your spirit vein is so important. You don't even pay attention to it. Qin Yin did not speak. Instead, he looked at Xian Rujing's ice-cold, jade-like face and calmly appreciated it. Xian Rujing said, I suspect that there is something related to 9 yin Saint Meridian in your body. That is why I cultivated 9 yin Saint Meridian. Could it be because of 9 Sun Divine Spirit? Qin Yin said, I don't know. Sister Kira might know. Wait until I see her. I will ask her. Xian Rujing said, while they are cultivating together, their energy absorption speed is very fast. Qin, the energy absorbed by Yun, is entering his nether sun. It is being stored temporarily. He is not refining it. Fusing after cultivating for a few days, they suddenly sense that the space around them is collapsing. After the collapse, Qin Yun and Xian Rujing seem to have been forcibly sucked into some place by a frantic power. In that instant, the two of them held each other's hands tightly and hugged each other tightly. Qin Yun unleashed Heavenly Might Tao Technique's Heavenly Might Tyrant Body. At the same time, he released a very strong barrier to protect the two of them. It was pitch black all around them. The chaotic streams of space were extremely berserk, continuously attacking them. Thankfully, Qin Yin reacted in time and had the experience to deal with it. Thus, he was able to avoid being ravaged by the violent spatial turbulence. In the pitch-black, chaotic space-time, Qin Yun's body released a dazzling golden glow that illuminated the surroundings. That some of the multicolored light was distorted and devoured. It gave off a very sinister feeling. Just like that, just as Qin Yun is about to release Floating Cloud Pagoda, red light suddenly appeared on Xian Rujing's body. Oni brutal aura surged out. Sister Rujing. Qin Yun shouted in alarm. He felt an incomparable stabbing pain entering his body. It is caused by the red light around Xian Rujing's body. Xian Rujing also let out a painful scream. Although she was tightly hugging Qin Yun, her body suddenly disappeared after being enveloped by the red light. Qin Yun became anxious. He promptly took out a soul-chasing talisman and began tracking Xian Rujing's location. Little Yun, what happened? Ling Yun'er asked anxiously. She was locked on by the power of heavenly punishment and teleported away. Qin Yun said in cold voice. The power of heavenly punishment is currently targeting her. It wants to teleport her to a special place for punishment. Ling Yun'er is also very anxious. Will she be okay? What kind of punishment will it be? In that place, the space inside will be distorted, and the body will also be distorted. It is very painful, but the body will not be injured. Qin Yun sighed and said, Back then, I was imprisoned in that kind of place for thousands of years by those fellows from the heavenly, law divine realm. He took out the sky-leaping shuttle. Leaped the heavenly shuttle, turned into a small gourd, and was held in his hand. It released waves of spatial energy that allowed him to accurately sense the direction of space. The spatial energy released by the sky-leaping shuttle allowed him to advance against the tyrannical spatial turbulence. Half an hour later, he suddenly arrived in a space flashing with red light. Xian Rujing was in that space. She lay on the ground, her face pale. She couldn't even speak. This red space was the land of punishment. Qin after Yun entered. It was also difficult for her to move, and her body was twisted into all kinds of shapes. That is a very familiar pain. He was imprisoned in this place for thousands of years, so he is already used to this kind of pain. But Xian Rujing cannot bear it. She is being tortured endlessly. Qin after Yun rushed over. He released Heavenly Might Tyrant Body and protected Xian Rujing. Only then could she take a breath. Benny wanted to put Xian Rujing into the Nine-Sun Divine Soul, but space magic tools have no effect here. Fu Cloud Pagoda is also space-type. Even if it is released, it will not become bigger. This is the land of punishment with chaotic space and time. Space energy is the most chaotic and tyrannical place. All kinds of space magic tools have no effect. Qin Yun is holding the sky-leaping shuttle. It cannot become bigger. It cannot release even a little bit of space power. Xian Rujing's ice-cold body felt a burst of warmth rushing over. After she opened her eyes, she discovered that a golden light barrier is covering her body. And Qin Yun is beside her. His body is being stretched and twisted. She can see that Qin Yun's twisted and stretched face is filled with pain, but he is silently enduring the pain and releasing all of his power to protect her. Xian Rujing's ice-cold and heartless heart suddenly palpitated. A trace of strange yet familiar feeling rushed into her heart. That trace of wonderful feeling lingered in her heart, causing her eyes to become moist. After feeling the kind of pain just now, she doesn't want to endure it anymore. But Qin Yun is able to endure it. Moreover, he is very stable in transferring energy to her. She can feel Qin Yun's love and concern for her. She can guess that Qin Yun was once trapped in this kind of place. Therefore, he is very familiar with this kind of pain and can endure it. Thinking about this, she feels even more uncomfortable in her heart. Her complicated heart is also secretly throbbing in pain. Yun'er, let's join hands and release the strongest Nether Sun power. Qin Yun endured the pain and communicated with Ling Yun'er. Nether Sun power can distort space and time. As long as we correct the distorted space and time, we can leave. All right. Ling Yun'er immediately cooperated with Qin Yun. They released Nether Sun power together, but the effect is not obvious. It will take a very long time for it to have any effect. But now they have no other way. If they want to leave, they must suppress the distorted space and time and find a passage to leave. Entering is easy, but leaving is very difficult. After all, this is the land of punishment with chaotic space and time. Xian. Chapter 2007. Qin Yun and Ling Yun's Nether Suns are releasing a great amount of Nether Sun power. Qin Yun and Ling Yun need to continuously accumulate power to stabilize the distorted space-time. So long as the tyrannical energy is suppressed, the punishment land will temporarily stabilize. Then Qin Yun will be able to bring Xian Rujing out of the punishment land and return to the chaotic space-time. Xian Rujing is inside a barrier. Qin Yun is continuously pouring in Nether Sun power to strengthen the barrier, ensuring that Xian Rujing will not be affected by the tyrannical energy. The pain on Xian Rujing's body has already disappeared. She is gradually recovering. She looked at Qin Yun and lightly yelled, "Why don't you come in? We will squeeze in here. We will talk about it after we pass through." "This won't do. I can only resist this kind of power outside." Qin Yun's voice came in layer upon layer. Moreover, it is distorted very strangely. It is as if it is being stretched. His voice is also fluctuating between high and low. Xian Rujing knows that Qin Yun is in great pain and said, "Then you should come in and rest. It is not easy to endure outside." Qin Yun heard Xian Rujing's voice. It is also distorted. He replied, "I am used to it. It doesn't matter. We need to leave this place as soon as possible. The punishment here is very changeable. The current situation is very weak." "All right, then you must be careful." Xian Rujing no longer said anything. She only hopes that Qin Yun will be safe and sound. In the bottom of her heart, she is still very concerned about Qin Yun, but because she has been deprived of her emotions, she has become very cold towards Qin Yun. It caused her to feel that her concern towards Qin Yun is repaying a favor. 3 days pass by. The red light of the punishment land is gradually becoming weaker. The energy Qin Yun released is already able to suppress most of the tyrannical space-time power. Qin Yun's body does not look that distorted, but his skin has some cracks. His eyes are bloodshot. He is only tightly frowning. He looks very calm. "Let's go." Qin Yun suddenly rushed towards Xian Rujing, grabbed her hand, and used transformation light, sacred pupil. Ho! Qin Yun brought along Xian Rujing and left the red punishment ground. Not long after, they arrived at a dark, tyrannical space. Xian Rujing is leaning on Qin Yun's body. She can sense that Qin Yun's body is very weak. Whether it is aura or soul fluctuation, they're all very weak. "Are you all right?" Xian Rujing sent Saint power into Qin Yun's body. "Not bad," Qin Yun said solemnly. "Sister Rujing, next I will open a spatial passage and send you to Sacred Desolate. Then what about you?" Xian Rujing is startled and asked, "Why are you not coming with me?" "I want to stay here," Qin Yun said. "There are people inside my 9-sun divine spirit. If I bring a few people through the spatial passage, it will cause the passage to collapse." Xian Rujing gritted her teeth and said in cold voice, "If you are not leaving, I will also not leave. If you don't leave, you will soon be dragged into the land of punishment. Don't tell me you want me to endure the pain to save you again," Qin Yun said sternly. "After I send you out, I will recover from my injuries and think of a way to get out." Xian Rujing did not speak. She only feels that she is very weak now. She is very arrogant. She always thought that she is very strong, but in this kind of predicament, she is completely helpless. She finally felt the terror of the heavenly punishment. She finally understood why Qin Yun insisted on not letting her help him cultivate the sacred bloodline. "Sister Rujing, you must go through this trial first. Heavenly punishment power cannot be too rampant inside the 9-sun heavenly domain, because we want to enter Sacred Desolate. When we pass through this space, we are in the blind spot of the 9-sun heavenly domain. That is why the heavenly punishment power is so dreadful," Qin Yun said. Xian Rujing lightly sighed. "It seems like it will be hard to sever the entanglement between us in this life. I owe you again." After arriving at Sacred Desolate, find Sister Kiru and clearly understand the usage of 9 sacred veins. Let her and Sister Yang guide your cultivation. You must quickly become stronger. "Understand?" Qin Yun said. Xian Rujing suddenly hugged Qin Yun and kissed him. Qin Yun is startled. then also hugged Xian Rujing tightly. I don't have any feelings for you. I only feel that doing this will make you a bit happier. Xian Rujing's voice is somewhat cold. This is the only thing I can do to make me feel at ease. Qin Yun is indeed very happy in his heart. He took out the Nine-Dragon Heavenly Origin Formation and unleashed formidable Nine-Dragon Divine Cosmos power to open a space passage. Sister Rujing, no matter what, don't treat me as an enemy, okay? Qin Yun said. Relax. You're the only man who can cultivate Sun and Moonheart Sutra with me. How can I treat you as an enemy? Xian Rujing coldly groaned. If not for the vile environment here, I would cultivate third layer with you and help you recover quickly. Qin Yun is very startled and said, Didn't you say you don't have any feelings for me? Why are you still willing? You're injured because of me. I will use my own method to help you heal. Why do you care so much? Besides, aren't we still not done? Xian Rujing lightly groaned and said. Suddenly, the Nine-Dragon Heavenly Origin Formation became enveloped by many red lightning bolts. Those Nine-Dragon Rune Heavenly Sabers began trembling. What's going on? Xian Rujing promptly yelled in alarm. Heavenly Punishment Power has arrived. It wants to destroy my Nine-Dragon Heavenly Origin Formation. Qin Yun's expression turned cold. He controlled the Nine-Dragon Heavenly Origin Formation to release its strongest power and opened a space passage. A circular passage appeared in the center of the Nine-Dragon Heavenly Origin Formation. It looks like it is trembling. Quickly go, Qin Yun yelled. Red energy once again appeared on Xian Rujing's body. That heavenly punishment power once again appeared on her body. It wants to drag her into the punishment land. Xian Rujing immediately rushed towards the center of the Nine-Dragon Heavenly Origin Formation. While entering, she turned her head to take a glance. Her expression is filled with complex emotion. She bit her lips and yelled, You must come to sacred, desolate alive. Even though I don't have any feelings, I cannot live without you in my life. Finished speaking, she immediately entered the passage. The space passage began trembling and became very unstable. If one person enters, the space passage will become like this. There is no need to talk about two people. Qin Yun continued operating the Nine-Dragon Heavenly Origin Formation, released energy, and stabilized the space passage. After he sensed that Xian Rujing is not in the space passage, he let out a long sigh and stored the Nine-Dragon Rune Heavenly Sabers. The golden light released by Qin Yun's body suddenly dimmed. His ice-cold and damaged body is floating in the chaotic space filled with death sacrifice. As soon as Xian Rujing passed through the passage, she saw Qin Yun's body covered with cuts and bruises. The golden light on his body has dimmed, and he is floating in the chaotic space filled with death sacrifice. She is still as cold and elegant as before. Her bright eyes are also filled with coldness, but her tears are hot. Xiao Yun, are you all right? Ling Yuner lightly called out to Qin Yun. I'm fine. Qin Yun woke up after a nap. He feels that his body is in incomparable pain. He is floating in the air and being blown around by all kinds of tyrannical space-time chaotic flow. Ling Yuner said, Sister Rujing seems to be treating you a bit better. Did she recover her feelings? Qin Yun shook his head and said with sigh, Her feelings have been stripped away. She can no longer have feelings. She is treating me well because she feels that she owes me. This is her principle. Then will she always be like this? Ling Yuner said with great sadness. Actually, she's also not bad like this. Qin Yun said, She has 9 sacred veins, and she is the snow goddess. Her cultivation path does not need emotions. This will instead make her stronger, even faster. Ling Yuner said, Xiao Yun, what will you do now? How will you get out? Qin Yun looked all around and said, Rest assured, I will surely get out. This kind of place can't trap me. Do you have any way to get out? Ling Yuner said, Why do I feel that it will be very difficult to get out? Moreover, you still have 9 Sun Divine Soul, with so many people inside. Want to be sensed? It doesn't matter if Sister Rujing is not here. I'll be a lot more relaxed here. Qin Yun said with smile. Wait for my injuries to recover. Then I will take action. If Xian Rujing is still here, she will be targeted by heavenly punishment power. He will have to help Xian Rujing resist heavenly punishment power. Otherwise, with Xian Rujing's current strength, she will not be able to resist heavenly punishment power and will be tortured to death. Qin Yun drifted for a few days and gradually recovered. His body has very strong recovery power. Nine Dragon Heavenly Origin Formation is operating inside Nine Sun Divine Soul. It could transfer some power to him to help him recover. Xiao Yun, how will you get out? Ling Yuner is very worried that Qin Yun might have an accident and fall into the hands of those heavenly beings of heavenly law divine domain again. Qin Yun said, very simple. I will wait patiently. Naturally something will come to help me go to Sacred Desolate. Ling Yuner very curiously said, what will come? Qin Yun said with mischievous smile, Space Xian ants. Ah, there are space Xian ants here? Ling Yuner said in amazement. Then how can we lure them over? Use Divine Universe Golden Stone. Space Xian ants love to eat Divine Universe Golden Stone. Qin Yun said with smile. Divine Universe Golden Stone's energy can penetrate through many layers of space. It itself has a certain amount of space-penetrating power, adding the formidable energy stored inside. Space Xian ants love to eat them. Xiao Yun, do you understand space Xian ants very well? Sister Kiru seems to understand them very well. Ling Yuner said with smile. I was once imprisoned in the punishment land of chaotic space-time. Back then, Sister Kiru thought of many methods to find me, so she also understands space Xian ants very well. Qin Yun said with smile. Sister Kiru must have suffered a lot to find you. Ling Yuner said, Sister Kiru is very good to you. Qin Yun thought of Xie Kiru and felt warm in his heart. He also took out a Divine Universe Golden Stone to lure the space Xian ants in the vicinity. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.